Welcome back to the post game here for China and Norway. What a matchup, especially for the home team, as they looked super dominant throughout that entire series, start to finish. We were hoping to see something change, and we did. In all honesty, Horizon was a good start. Guys, want to bring you in here and start talking about this because I am sad for Norway. They came into this match with so much confidence.
They did, and I still, I mean, yeah, they lost, and yeah, those were convincing games from China, but still, I do like the variety which Norway is showing us throughout those games, and they did have different plans and different strats, so we don't just see like the dive combs coming in, and I just also felt that Horizon is just, it's one of their really good maps. The dominance they already had yesterday on it and how quick they managed to finish stuff was absolutely fantastic. I was a bit upset to see them not really respecting the Widowmaker there at the very beginning. Like, they stayed on the high ground, didn't really like try to get away from it. So they did get picked off a lot. And then of course there was the unfortunate Reaper incident. Yeah, when you don't have a D.Va to negate the damage, and he just kind of picked through the whole of their team. So that was a bit sad to see, but I still really enjoyed their performance and the way they approached this map.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, Rachel, about this China team, I mean,
yeah, what about them?
They have
I had them yesterday,
they have a lot of tools.
Sorry, they're mine today.
They have a lot of tools at their disposal. Really, just some fantastic players across the board. Not even just Eileen and Undead, who we've been talking about nonstop.
Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of focus on the DPS because there are standout players. A lot of the big plays rest on their shoulders, but we've seen a lot from Shy. Maybe slightly early on his Zen ultimates, but he really hasn't been punished for it. And then, of course, Yao on the Winston doing incredible work. You know, with that bubble, just making sure his DPS protected. And then MG in the back line with the D.Va, keeping everybody safe, and you know, maybe showboating a little bit there at the end with the Widow.
I do think that Norway got a little ahead of themselves, though, in this match. I don't know if it was as I mean, it looked one-sided on paper, it looked one-sided in game, but I think a lot of it came back to Norway just not really playing up to the level that they probably were capable of. As far as them going further, I do think China's going to have opposition in Group B. I do think Group B is much stronger than Group A at the end of the day, at least in my opinion. Outside of China, China probably should have a good time, but there are definitely contenders on the other side of this bracket that can bring them down before we get to the main stage. So again, I do think that Norway probably outmeted themselves. They probably tried a little too hard, got a little ahead, and maybe thought that they could do some stuff that maybe they weren't comfortable on, and it definitely opened up China to obviously bring them back to this 4-0.
Yeah, well, I guess to kind of like bring it back to the Horizon game there, I appreciate Norway getting in MG's face after recognizing that like this Widow was going to be a problem. So that was really well played. My issue definitely would be with how Onigod approached that whole attack round for Norway Flame, because Onigod, a great player, such a talented player. We've seen him do some incredible things, but he stays on this Widow, and he's not really hitting the shots that he wants to hit, right? You could see a little bit of frustration even. He's going for quick shots even, not fully charged up shots with the Widow. He's, you know, trying to pick them where he can. And then he switched out. Instead of taking D.Va, took 76. And with the Reaper, I mean, Flame, like, I feel like you have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a case for 76 against Reaper in general, but I guess once you get to that point at the end, he probably picked it thinking like, oh, I can get back to the point maybe faster. Maybe the heal station is more valuable against this team, but it was just really well executed between the Reaper and the Matrix. Like, they had that Reaper ult, then they put the Matrix on top of it. There was no damage to kill that Reaper. It was really well executed. But yeah, you're right. I don't even know if I agree with the Widowmaker at the start. They probably could have ran something a little bit more standard because their win condition was pretty straightforward, you know, just cap first point. And they had 2 minutes to do it, and most teams have been doing it in around 2 or 3 minutes. So it wasn't like they weren't ready for it. I just don't know if I agree with them trying to pull out some crazy new strategy when all they have to do is take first.
Yeah, I think to kind of echo what was said before, they simply out-meted themselves, right? They really thought too much about it. Sometimes it could just be as simple as just diving in and just taking care of business.
Exactly, like, because they are strong as a team. They do have the coordination. I don't really see a massive reason why they had to go and try all those crazy things. It was still nice to see, and it's good to know that they could be doing it, but still, at the end of the day, that just didn't win them the game against China. Then again, as we discussed before, dive versus dive against China would just be really hard, and I feel like they might just not have been comfortable enough with that.
Well, a big part of that too is how well China managed their ults. I mean, every time they separated from an engage, they had the same number or more ultimates than the other team, and that meant that at the end of that final point on Lunar Colony, when that fight started, they had a lot more at their disposal there. It was going to be really hard for Norway to break that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is a wrap on that one. China continues to be dominant here in Shanghai, and it is no surprise that the home team is performing the way that they are in front of their home crowd. But we have plenty more action coming up next, so don't go anywhere. The 2017 Overwatch World Cup continues on.
My ultimate's almost ready.
Now to show them.
Humanity is always being tested. Conflict and war is the crucible through which we evolve. Every battle makes us stronger. Those who fall will be forgotten. Those who rise up, their names will be remembered forever.
2017 Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by Omen by HP, T-Mobile, Union Pay, and Blizzard Entertainment.
Welcome back, everyone, to the pregame for Hong Kong versus Romania as we get ready for this one. Two teams that certainly have a lot to prove and a lot on the line as well. All right, did talk about this. They've underperformed yesterday, but Hong Kong did have a glimmer of hope in their matchup against Norway. Even the Norwegian folks said, hey, you know, they kind of caught us off guard. Some things went their way that we definitely didn't expect.
Yeah, I think the Norwegian team mainly blamed themselves for it. I don't really think when we talked to them they gave credit to Hong Kong per se for like being the better players. It's just like, well, we made a lot of mistakes and they capitalized on it. But in turn, that really does make the Hong Kong team good, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do. They did show signs of life in their very last game and took that off of Norway on Route 66. And I believe it was an overtime still, but anyway, they did win that one, and they were really happy leaving the stage at the end of the day as well. And they did show good individual performance as well. So I'm excited to see them perform against Romania because I think those are a bit more equal matched teams. So I think we're going to see more of both of them.
I think a lot of it came down to them not really knowing what they were going to do yesterday in their first match against Norway. They spent, I think, the first 3 maps like switching their compositions all day. Every map, every point, they just did not know what they were going to pick. Yeah. And they finally found solace on that one Sombra pick, and I think that they're probably going to run into it here. Just keep running it. It worked for you yesterday. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and this is definitely something that was an issue for them yesterday. Not really gelling and not finding their feet as far as what their roles were. They switched everything up. Everything changed.
They did,
for that
but
team.
they didn't really get to practice much coming into this because some of them are students, some of them are still working. They didn't really find the time to get together. So they had everything on paper, but they just didn't get the time to actually practice it with each other.
Yeah, but on the other side, though, they're going to be facing off against the Romanian roster, and Seltzer, this team has also a lot to prove and a lot on the line. A strong performance would be great for them here.
Yeah, this is, you know, I have high hopes for Romania in this matchup, just because knowing Hong Kong, not everyone on that roster, as you said, so he is a professional player. However, in Romania, every player has LAN experience just about. So we have ML7 Meza leading the charge here. ML7 hopefully feeling a little bit better than he did yesterday because he's their in-game leader and he was feeling a bit sore in the throat. So his teammates had to step up, but hopefully today, a little different.
Yeah, I think that he was a little stubborn. I think yesterday he stayed on Ana a little bit too long. It seemed like they were trying to go for this Nano Blade Genji with rank kind of composition and it didn't really work out for them. That said, it was against China. China seems to be the team to beat right now, so who knows how good they'll do today against Hong Kong.
This is a big opportunity for players on both sides of the stage here as they sit down and get ready to go. We'll see what Hong Kong picks as their first map. They are the higher seed. Everyone keep in mind, Romania is the 32nd seeded team in the Overwatch World Cup.
They will never have the first map pick.
They will never have the first map pick, so it's definitely not a good look for them. But I think also, too, right, like, it helps. They kind of can just, like, see. They saw the Hong Kong game yesterday, so they can expect certain things from them, I would imagine, Rachel.
That's a good point, Alex. Both these teams were losing yesterday. That did mean that they got to pick every subsequent map, and they made very different choices now. So who wins which round is going to be a big factor in this matchup too.
Except Horizon.
Except Horizon. Everyone chose Horizon.
100% pick rate.
Who would have thought
win rate.
going into this tournament?
Even though it's not win rate, you know.
Oh well.
Yeah, well.
It's winning the pick.
Yeah.
Beating Volskaya 100-0.
Yeah, it's 100% win rate, 100% pick rate. There you go.
Well, Romania likes Volskaya.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right. Well, guys, it's going to be Hong Kong versus Romania. Who's going to come out on top here? It is a redemption storyline on both sides of the stage, and we're going to go ahead and send it over to your casters, Wolf and Achilleos.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy. Achilleos here alongside Wolf, yet again ready to dive into the second match for today. Hong Kong going up against Romania. And the guys at the desk, you know, they did touch on this quite a bit, but there's a lot of pressure for both of these teams to perform. Romania currently not having any points. Hong Kong, just the one that they were able to take away from Norway yesterday.
I think the difference in momentum for these two teams is massive as well. Obviously, Romania being the lowest seed in World Cup and Hong Kong being able to take that last map and getting the momentum back at the end of that series against Norway gives them an edge. They walked off stage happy and in smiles yesterday. And Romania, you know, unfortunately for them, they faced the strongest team in this tournament thus far, the 8-0 China. So for our first map here, we are going to head to Kings Row for hybrid. And Hong Kong, I think, comes into this one a little bit the favorites for sure in terms of seeding and their win against Norway yesterday. But Romania, you can't really count them out because they went against such a strong opponent in China yesterday that tested against a weaker team here in Hong Kong. Perhaps they look a lot stronger, and it's not really fair to judge them based on those 4 maps alone.
Yeah, this is very true. Still, you know, being the bottom seed at the moment is going to be a bit damning for them, but they want to turn that around. They want to have that stronger performance, and a team such as Hong Kong is certainly where you can start that restructuring of your squad. Hong Kong as well, going to have to try to bounce back. You remember this Kings Row map just yesterday being full held on attack on point A by Norway. It was fantastic defense by them. They were able to push all the way to point C as well. So Hong Kong need to have a better performance here on Kings Row. They will go back to this pick. They're feeling confident about it, but can they deliver is going to be the question.
Yeah, and yesterday the issue was really just very good delay tactics out of Norway. Decod especially on the Winston, bought a lot of time, and it was just a struggle for them to grab that first point. But we saw them evolve their composition with their 6-man towards the end. As Flame mentioned earlier, they switched between several different types of play. We had Hyper on the Soldier, then switching later on, eventually settling on the Winston, even though he's the captain and the DPS player. Winston seemed to be his best hero, and Mua on the Sombra specifically looked very strong. So I'm hoping we see a little bit more of that going into this series.
Yeah, I think the Sombra is definitely going to be making a return here for the set of Mue, especially, I mean, MVP performance from him, getting, you know, play of the game and whatnot, so really stellar stuff from him. Can expect that pick as we move further into the series, perhaps when they flip over to the defensive side. For now, it will be Romania starting things off here on the defense, Hong Kong on the attack on Kings Row as we get things underway.
Okay, so it looks like we're going to be seeing that Sonic arrow come out. We'll be moving to the Genji on attack here with their 2-2-2 composition. Romania going to be having the solid defense here, the standard defense with MK on the Soldier.
Well, already Meza finding a first pick here as Mango goes down, but Mue able to answer that one as MK will be cut down by this Genji. See, right now, Hong Kong just wrapping around that right side, but getting kind of caught up in that choke point. Will lose a couple members, and that could put a bit of a halt here onto this push. Do jump down onto the point. We're going to go ahead and see Rank knocked out of that D.Va mech, but has not died yet. For now, just a bit of exchanging coming back and forth. Romania kiting back around through the archway to get themselves gathered up. But for now, the first tick has gone over to the side of Hong Kong. Hyper going down, however, could be a big threat. As we see that the re-engage is going to come through. Winston leaping forward. MK coming up the kill as Mix goes down. Jazzy falling as well. They will pop Rank out of that mech, but we'll keep this in contention for the moment. 2 ticks picked up for Hong Kong on that first little poke forward. MK way out in no man's land will get taken down, but Hong Kong already in less than about 3 minutes remaining on the clock. Just need that extra 33% to get this completed, and it's still going up. No one from Romania staying on the point at the moment. Mango trying to spin away, trying to get inside, can't do so. Meza stuck to him on his tail, zaps him to death. Now Mue dropping back in as it's just all hell breaking loose here on the point. Transcendence is used from the side of ML7. Romania just trying to stay into this one now. Jazzy just getting his popped up, will push forward. Dragon Blade drawn out by Mue, looking for a prime target, dashes in, trying to get the supports, but everybody is just scattering away from this Genji. Will cut down Sima at the end with the Dragon Blade, but the rest of his team is falling down around him as Hyper and Jazzy will both fall. Mango having to hightail it out of here. Everybody pursuing forward, trying to kill this Soldier. They'll be able to kite back around the corner, and that self-destruct is thrown out by Rank. Just trying to zone everybody off the point. The near cap there for Hong Kong, but they cannot complete it.
Yeah, I have to give real credit to Romania for being so patient there, willing to give up the 2 ticks, but saving their ultimates, not diving in until everyone had regrouped, and that's how they're able to buy so much time. And was one of our longest fights here on Kings Row's first point.
A couple openings here as we see Hyper going down. Kookabout able to get that with a grenade coming through, locks him down, and Panderin's also going to fall, so some key picks coming through for Romania. They're trying to maintain this push. Self-destruct thrown out, trying to zone them back. They do wrap around the corner, and Rank not able to get back into that mech. Will go down in the Baby D.Va form as Hong Kong tries to push back in, but Romania has that sound barrier to answer to try to stave them off. Bubble coming through. They're going to go ahead and throw the Transcendence in straight away afterward as Mue has that Dragon Blade drawn out. Can't cut through anybody. The healing just too much from that Zenyatta. Won't gain anything for it, and Hong Kong for now are still being saved off. Just 0.2% away from getting that cap, and they will will be held back.
They just push back again, and Romania with such good staggering of the ultimates for the defense here, and survivability is the name of the game for them. Now they've got this tac visor, and they're just trying to burn this time down.
And it's working rather well as Jazzy's going to be the first one to fall. Almost had that Transcendence available as well for Hong Kong, which is going to be so crucial for them to try to get back in onto the point. So beautiful tac visor coming through from MK. Just identifying when he could use that, when he could maximize, and getting Jazzy, albeit just the one kill, is still a very valuable one. We'll be respawning, we'll be coming back in, but this is still cutting down that time bank from the side of Hong Kong. 50 seconds remaining as they do push in onto the point. Kukubao and ML7 have both fallen. Now MK answering in onto Jazzy, so a bit of a trade back, but it's just spilling over into favor of Hong Kong. They will get the near team kill. MK the only one really limping away from the fight. They finally get that cap, but with significantly less time than you might have expected from that first push.
Yeah, especially considering they almost got it. They were at 99.8%, but Romania, when they were losing fights, especially in the first point where Hong Kong got double ticks, they were willing to back off and risk potentially losing that first point early to actually have these support ultimates to come in and delay. So they were basically just saying, okay, we're going to back off for a second, regroup, instead of risking losing members and losing this for sure. And as a result, they bought a really large amount of time there. And Hong Kong always on the cusp, but now only 2.5 minutes left on this streets phase.
You have to make it all the way through, but already so far things are going better for Hong Kong than they did against Norway, able to get that first cap through, but now need to push it all the way over to B to get that extra bit of time in the bank. Mue going forward, has the pulse pump ready to go, but sees a primal rage coming through, so doesn't want to toss it out quite yet. Will just be holding on to that, perhaps for a future fight. MK with attack visor is able to get rid of that pesky tracer, but now has to run for the hills, make it back over to that health pack. Throws on the battlefield to keep himself alive. In the meantime, on the backside of the fight, Mango dueling out with Meza will come up with a kill in that exchange with the help of Jazzy.
And Mango just had the much better tac visor there than we saw coming out from MK. Unfortunately, he was just completely shut down. And again, Hong Kong very ult efficient with how they're doing this, so they maintain an ultimate lead. They're going to have that self-destruct in just a moment here. Romania may look to contest this checkpoint, but it's a risky one if they're going to go for it, and they will, in fact. Transcendence not used on top of the sound barrier, though, so staggering those support ultimates. Here comes that self-destruct.
Yeah, waiting for that one at the moment. Self-destruct comes through, not going to be finding anything yet, but both Transcendences will be used simultaneously as Mango just desperately tries to fire away. Now has ML7 all by himself. Will take him down with the help of Pandarin, and the payload is just in front of point B. A couple more meters to go, and they will have that cap. The picks are still coming through from the side of Hong Kong. Kukubao will go down, leap up into the air here for the Winston, onto the high ground as Meza tries to stay alive, wants to avoid getting shot, has that Discord orb on him. Will be able to evade for the time being, but the rest of his squad, without the protection here from the Big Ape, will fall, and he's going to go down as well as he tries to leap back in. That's just going to be the cap.
And Pandarin is getting so many kills himself. He's clearly showing his accuracy, building up the sound barriers so quickly, and really talk about the Lucio as being the one who's being the main killer, and it really isn't him, but he's adding so much extra DPS to this, and Meza, unfortunately, is just never really able to shut down Mango, so he's getting these extra kills, tac visor or no. When he does drop down the tac visors, which he has more often than MK, they're just being more impactful because there just isn't that block. There's Rank No Moja not getting close enough, and Meza's just not willing to dive in. Well, the discords are coming out from Jazzy. They've just been really good, burning him down, so he doesn't want to go in to actually contest.
Hear that tac visor being popped here from the side of Mango. Everybody is kiting back behind Rank, who has that defense matrix up to try to block, but MK's still going to pulse. Mue goes in the back line. Now the sound barrier out here from the side of Hong Kong, trying to stay into the fight. The pulse bomb comes through, but Kukubao is just going to die in the end. The recall positioning, not the best. He gets blown up, goes down, as does Meza. Discord Orb doing so much work to cut down that Winston, even through the primal rage.
And he used that now. He doesn't have it anymore. They're going to have the support ultimates here, but with what? Rank No Moja is going to have that self-destruct eventually if they can use his support ultimates to buy time, but that's it. Yeah, that's all they've got.
Not a whole lot to couple this one with. The Transcendence will come through from Jazzy, trying to stay in onto this payload. A couple more meters to go to get this completion. Mue trying to duke it out here with MK, takes him low, but gets forced out on the recall, so has to back off the fight. In the meantime, that's going to be some of these supports being traded out. Pandarin and ML7 both going down for the sound barriers there. Kasima stayed alive. Self-destruct thrown in. Will find Mix in the Baby D form. Couldn't make it back in time. His self-destruct won't find anything, and it seems like Hong Kong have finally been saved off. They have to kite back and regroup.
That was really well done, and now Meza is actually going to have that Primal Rage available again. But I feel like the protection for Meza and MK, the synergy just isn't there right now, and that's something they could definitely improve to hold down this next push. A minute left on the clock, and Mango, can they shut him down? He's been doing so much with these tac visors. He's going to be the big damage dealer in this because Mix did use that self-destruct earlier. Not going to be an engagement tool. He's going to go ahead and dive up here with Hyper to look for the engage, and that's when Mango's going to find that damage. So protecting the DPS of MK here is going to be absolutely critical. They haven't been able to do it consistently so far. They need to focus here.
Yeah, Mue's been doing a very good job of getting into the back line and disrupting MK, preventing him from damaging the rest of the team. Tac visor coming out here from the side of Mango, pushing forward. Looking for a couple targets as this D.Va straight up into his face. They will get that pop on the mech. Helix Rocket's not going to connect, but he has a biotic field as Emka tries to kite back, but he will just get cut down. Mango coming up for the kills, and they're spilling over in favor of Hong Kong. Time and time again, the double kill coming through with the Helix Rockets takes them down. Sound barrier for good measure as they try to ride this one all the way home. Pulse Bomb takes out ML7, and that is going to be it. Hong Kong are able to get that finish on point C with 0.9 seconds remaining.
And you just have to feel like when you compare Mango to Emka, the impact has been higher on the Soldier. He has the protection of his tanks, protecting him with the D.Va, the defense matrix, the Winston bubbles, and the target selection has been better here for Hong Kong overall. In some ways we're seeing the dive-ins coming from Meza. When he's all alone, he gets picked. The Discord orb usage here from Jazzy has been really good. So you can understand why Meza sometimes isn't going in with the Winston, because he's being focused down. It just feels like the communication for Romania is on a weaker level right now than Hong Kong. And yesterday we had ML7 saying, you know, he had throat problems. He couldn't make the shot calling as well as he would have liked to. Perhaps we're seeing a little bit of continuation of that today. But either way, we are seeing Hong Kong really step it up and carry that momentum from yesterday.
A great start here for Hong Kong as they do complete that assault, but now it's time for Romania to give it their best shot. Try to go all the way to point C with some time in the bank, because Hong Kong barely were able to clock any for themselves.
And that's a lot due to Romania's passive nature there on defending the first point. We go back to how that worked out. They gave up 2 ticks early, but everybody survived. They built up enough charge healing everybody. It was really the Zenyatta play coming out that allowed them to heal everybody with those Harmony Orbs to get the Transcendence, which started that very long team fight that lasted, what, 2.5 minutes there that they eventually did lose, but burned so much time. And Hong Kong could have had such a larger time bank if they had taken that first cap like they planned to. They were very close.
It's a very good hold, but we'll see how Hong Kong fares. Again, we're the recipients of a full hold at the hands of Norway just yesterday, so maybe they picked up a few tips and tricks to try to pull that off here for themselves. For now, we'll just be operating with that double DPS yet again. Mango on the Soldier and Mue starting things off on the Genji. Not going to be seeing him over onto that Tracer.
Yeah, Rangno Mojo bringing the Genji out again. Had a few highlight clips of him getting shut down yesterday by the Chinese team, but might be a different story here against Hong Kong. And I like this pick actually over the Soldiers so far when you compare how much Mango's been able to do with the protection that's allowed him to find that DPS and those tack visors.
For now, just going to push forward as Rank jumps up onto the high ground, trying to get in onto the top of Panda and almost kills him with a deflect, but Hyper is there to go ahead and pick up that kill, stopping the Genji from building up closer.
And there was a biotic grenade in there too, so that was really well coordinated. You could see what they were trying to do, blocking the heals out there, coming in with a deflection in that choke point, just barely shut down. So good idea, but unsuccessful in execution.
It just stops them for the moment. Still plenty of time on the clock. Just want to be able to get that cap coming through a bit faster than Hong Kong did. So alleviates the pressure of that streets phase a bit more. But for now, you can see Romania looking to play this one safely and very measuredly as they poke around, looking for these openings, trying to identify one here as a squad and then go in together. So far has been eluding them as Mesa has to throw down that bubble and leap his way out of there. The heal deny coming through from the biotic grenade, just a bit too much of a threat, so he gets himself to safety. In the meantime, off screen, Mue does come up with the kill onto Rank, and NL7 will also die. So Mue, with this Genji, something that wasn't really working out for them yesterday, is really kind of culminating for him. So, you know, doesn't go over to the Sombra on defense, instead goes back to the Genji. And so far, it's a star-studded performance from him. Will help take down Kukubao as well.
You could tell that Romania is definitely trying to target down the supports, especially trying to get rid of Jazzy, and unfortunately he's been unsuccessful. Jazzy's actually built his nano, and this means there's no pressure on Mango. Once again, he's able to find the extra damage. We keep seeing shots of him where he's helping finish off these kills, where no one is touching him, no one's harassing him. Meza can't get in there because they've decided to dive onto the Ana. The Zenyatta's up there helping protect him, and now a support ultimate lead for Hong Kong as well.
Hear that nano boost coming through. Mue does have the Dragon Blade ready to go. Cuts down ML7 to start things off. Almost has Meza. The bubble there to deny a bit. That's like not going to get too much as far as the zapping is going to go, but he still has the shurikens to go ahead and take down the Winston.
And very efficient with this. Really only using the Dragon Blade and the nano.
Yeah.
And now they have so much left to work with. Romania is not completely dry here. They're going to have Semas finally with the sound barrier eventually, but Hong Kong's being so efficient with how they're doing this, shutting them down hard. And I almost wonder if Emka should switch off the Soldier, but to what? That's the big question. Rank has switched back to the D.Va.
It's going to be the wrap around here through the hotel. Self-destruct coming through the bubbles there to go ahead and eat up the majority of that damage, so no one will die to this. Primal Rage thrown out. Emka gonna go ahead and pop that Tac Visor. Looking for a
value.
target, but he has to wrap around. Will find Mango, so does get something right at the end, and now the sound barrier does come down, trying to use this man advantage with the extra shielding to get in onto the point, and getting Hyper is going to be a nice follow-up to that Soldier. So seems like Romania might have finally found this opening to get this cap coming through. Second pick will be obtained, and seems like this should just be the full cap.
Yeah, he was able to get the pick there onto Mango. I said no value, but then Mango stepped out there. They got the
Curse.
Yeah, Caster Curse, right? And then gets the pick onto Mango. That's removes the majority of the DPS away from Hong Kong. Mua didn't have that Dragon Blade. He has it now. And a really similar time bank, actually, realistically, when you look at what Romania was able to do on the defense. So still a reasonable push for them. ML7 getting a ton of damage done there with that right click. But they do have the ult lead now. They held onto that Transcendence. They're going to have the self-destruct. These are tools they can use once they get to the hard part of this streets phase as they approach the checkpoint with the long run back. So I want to hold on to those, build up the sound barrier, and MK could look to have a heroic play on the Tac Visor again. But here comes
Nue here. The Nano Blade coming through. Transcendence immediately thrown out here by ML7 and the self-destruct as well. They're trying to zone him back. Nue not going to go down, but Hyper will get caught up in the blast. So a nice pickoff coming through here for Romania, following up now onto Pandarin off screen.
But this,
go ahead and snatch that up.
This is actually a pretty good trade for them because they got 2 ults for 1, basically. Mua's been able to build that so consistently today, and this is going to allow a stronger push for Romania, but they use so many resources in order to get just a little bit of distance.
Well, Payload's still moving unhindered at the moment with 2 minutes 30 remaining, so it seems like Romania is going to be in a nice spot, and Kukubao shooting very far forward, perhaps threatening with that pulse bomb. If you could find the likes of Jazzy, so would be a very prime target, but we see the swap over onto the Sombra.
Yeah, Mua switches to the Sombra because he used the Genji ultimate there to bait out the self-destruct, to bait out the Transcendence, so not going to be available perhaps when he has eventually that EMP.
See the fight coming through here. Yeah, Tac Visor used by Mango doesn't really get anything. The defense matrix straight up into his face to deny all that damage coming through. And in the meantime, there's no one able to push forward from the side of Hong Kong. So that point B cap just come through for Romania. Now 3.5 minutes to make it to C.
Romania has a lot of ultimates with this too, so it's actually a really nice opportunity to them. They didn't have to use a lot to get that checkpoint. The swap for Mua here, not finding value yet, no big hack plays, and not even halfway to the EMP.
Yeah, should be able to still build that one up rather quickly. In the meantime, we do see that sound barrier coming through from the side of Romania, but it's not before 2 members have gone down. Kukubao and Meza both falling in the self-destruct, knocking Rank out of the mech. He's just going to jump off to try to reset here with the rest of the squad. So Romania identifying, okay, you know what, we didn't win that fight, but we still have plenty to work with. But investing both of those ultimates is going to be a bit painful.
The scary part is, of course, Transcendence isn't going to be there anymore for the EMP, but the EMP is naturally going to build faster. They still have 3 minutes to push a very short distance.
They at least have the time.
And they saved the Tac Visor, the Primal Rage, so I think the idea here is to bait out the EMP. Here's the bait.
Oh, throws it down, but doesn't quite find the kill onto ML7. There's no one else there to really follow up onto this one. In the meantime, the rest of the squad is having a bit of trouble as Sima will go down. Rank yet again knocked out of that mech. Meza falling, so the tank line completely dismantled, and Romania is just going to get stomped out. But everybody here is still just holding onto their ultimates, still just keeping those built up so they can have that massive big 6 push.
Exactly. That's the essentially the idea here for Romania, is to bait out that EMP, use this as kind of like an eco push, that dry push to get the ultimates. Very conservative, holding on to those. The self-destruct is going to be so huge for securing that to actually push it to completion. They're going to want to hold on to that one as long as they can.
But now there's a big disconnect here in the squad. Emka just being completely cut off, will get taken out here by Mango, who has that Tac Visor ticking through. Now under threat from the Winston, will go down as the Primal Rage gets popped out here from Meza, so it seems like they still want to commit in for this, despite the fact that they have several members dead, including ML7. So maybe a bit of an overcommitment here from the side of Romania. Meza still going very far forward, trying to get out of there with his life, but won't be able to do so. Mue does take him down, and now he's going to have another EMP ready to go. So Romania, bit disjointed here on this attack.
Definitely. They didn't use everything, but still, especially the Primal Rage is a bit egregious because now they're not going to have that, which is so important to secure the point. They still have 80 seconds left here. Transcendence is going to be ready, and the self-destruct, but had they held on to those, would have been a better opportunity for them. Now Mua does have that EMP, and they could get shut down in their final push. He's going to want to hold on to that one, not get baited like Romania's been trying to do this entire time. Hold on to it because he might not be able to build it again. Here comes the self-destruct to engage.
Yeah, they're going to throw that one out. Transcendence immediately comes down, but the EMP is still going to be available. In the meantime, MK finding a kill with the Tac Visor there on a Panda, and Hyper's jumping forward, just trying to burn him down. Will be able to do so as he builds up for that Primal Rage. Gets ML7 as well. Rank going down, and it seems like Romania going all in onto that one, except for the sound barrier. They threw everything out, and they just get stomped into the ground by Hong Kong, who will hold firm. 40 seconds remaining on the clock.
Yeah, it's not over yet by any means, but now they just don't have the tools they would have liked to have. They don't have that important self-destruct, which is usually the deal sealer on the completion isolation pushes. And, you know, Hong Kong used a lot too, but Bua is going to have the EMP gone. That's one thing they gain. But Hyper, again, these tactics you use to delay the Primal Rage, the self-destruct, these are so important. They don't have them.
All right, well, there's a sound barrier coming through here. Seema still holding that onto that one, and Pandarin does get taken out. Kukubao comes up with a near 2K. Nox makes out of that mech, but will be taken down by Mue at the same time. Back visor available now for Mango. Will pop this one, but the defense matrix is still there. He's looking for a target, but with the leap forward there from Meza, is able to take out that soldier. Now Hong Kong backs up against the walls. They try desperately to maintain this hold, but it seems so unlikely unless they can get these respawns coming through very swiftly. Mango coming back over, swaps over onto that Tracer to try to buy some time. Transcendence out here from ML7 just sitting in on top of the payload, just trying to push this. We're into overtime. Barely any more space needs to be gained, but the EMP does get dropped in here by Mue, but there's no follow-up coming through from the side of Hong Kong. Instead, it's Romania, the ones that are picking up the kills. Makes Mue both going down, Pandarin as well, and that will be the final completion. They get it in overtime. Both of these teams will have a minute.
And this is basically as close as it gets at Kilios here for capture. So the 0.9 second advantage, pretty insignificant there on the side, of course, of Hong Kong. But it was amazing what Romania was able to do with that final push, despite not having all those engage tools. And they won, actually, with that final push after building the self-destruct after the primary. Didn't even need the self-destruct to close it out. So pretty impressive run there. And we knew that Romania was going to show us more than what they showed against China, because it was obviously the team that's now 8-0 in this group stage. Romania got stomped there, but they look very competitive now against this Hong Kong team. And we're basically resetting here with tiny time banks. And I feel like the only thing to really criticize on the side of Romania is just protecting MK better. But otherwise, I feel like they really stepped up their ult usage. Their defense play against Hong Kong, I feel like, was where they showed their biggest strength there on point A. And that's going to be very important now, as this is basically going to be a point A contest with such small time banks, 1 minute apiece.
Yeah, going to be a game of who can get the most ticks, if not get that initial cap. And then from there, overtime on a payload. We've seen, you know, over in Apex, we've seen some teams do some crazy stuff with that payload, taking it all the way to point B, if not further than. So maybe that'll happen here today. For now, Romania will be going on the attack. 1 minute ticking down. Looks like we have an issue, so we're likely going to have a pause. Going to have to reset this.
It looks like a disconnect here. One of the players did, it looks like, get DC'd. ML7, in fact, seems to be perhaps the guy. But this is obviously a moment where we're going to, as the Achilles Wolf pause curse continues, have to take a step back to make sure that all settings are correct. And because this is the highest tension, right? This is the moment. This is the end of this first round. It's going to give them momentum. And every point in this group stage in these 4 match sets is so important, because it's not a best of 5, it's not a best of 4 even. Every single map counts. So for both these teams, especially because they're on the lower end, this map is so important.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, coming in here, 0 points for the side of Romania. Again, 1 point for Hong Kong. So every map that they could pick up just helps them climb closer to Norway, who's currently sitting in that second place spot for this group. So backs against the wall, and having a pause like this at such a crucial moment can be very upsetting. Very, I won't say the T word, but you know, it can set off your mental a little bit, maybe get you unfocused. But these players, they need to be operating as a unit, keeping everybody's spirits high to make sure that they can, you know, focus in for this final remaining 2 minutes of play that should be on the clock.
Yeah. So just to confirm, it's Kukubao actually who was knocked out of the game.
Yeah.
Looks to be a connection problem, but we're getting him back in. In fact, looks like we might already have him back into the lobby. We'll see if the game is completely remade or not. The attack had just started, so really not even much even actually occurring in the beginning stage of this. So if we can get him back in at the exact moment, that would be preferred. But if we have to have a reset, that is fine. But it comes down to this. The attack is on, and building as much meter as you can for this is going to be the critical part. And for the attack here, it was Romania on the attack, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's right. So they're looking to just get as much percentage as they can because they were so much better on the defense than we saw from Hong Kong. So looks like the game is ready. All right. As we get them back into the game. We're going to go right back to exactly where we were. Remember, Romania on the attack. Kukubao was on that Tracer, and he's back inside.
All right, yeah, seems like we got everything taken care of. So nice little swift fix. As they will be pushing forward. Rank yet again, trying to jump up over onto this high ground, but has that big heal deny coming through, and the deflect will not save him from Hyper. Zaps him to death. Gets rid of that Genji, will be delaying. You know, something like a Dragon Blade that can really turn a major fight around in such a short amount of time. Mango now will be left on, will be cut down, but it's still Hong Kong very much coming out on top of the exchanges. Meza and ML7 have both fallen, and now it's just 12 seconds remaining on the clock for Romania. Did not get that first tick. Desperately are going to have it if they want to hold out and take this map away from Hong Kong.
They failed to get those support kills they wanted. MK's here in the pilot diva form. Hong Kong playing back here. They want to catch the dodgeball, so to speak, here of Romania as they attack in. Trying to find the angler. Jazzy nearly with a nano boost. He's so close.
Yeah, almost has this one ready to go as they try to get that first tick coming through, ticking up very close, and they will be able to get it. You can see
nice
that
huge
mix
pick here on the
just not
Jazzy.
going to be there, but yes, Seema does find that kill. The Transcendence now coming through here from the side of Pandaren as they try to posture forward in onto the point, but Google has gotten rid of Mix. Hyper going in, gets rid of Rank. Meza cut down, Hyper going down, as well as the tanks are just being shattered across the board. Tacfights are out here from Mango, firing away. Almost kills, does kill MK right at the end, and they will stop that one out.
So important they are able to take this, considering their cap was overtime there on the attack. So that's actually so huge. They're able to get some ticks here. Well, nearly the second tick. They're 64.8, very close to that second tick. You can consider it that basically here. So we're going to jump into Hong Kong's attack now, and it looked like the attack for Romania totally backfired when once again they dove for the supports there using the biotic grenade, but they turned it around, able to get the pick onto Jazzy. Jazzy was the only member on Hong Kong that actually had the massive ult advantage. He could have used a nano boost there to delay so much more time, so getting that pick, very well done by Seema.
Nicely done, and a great tag advisory get again here for Mango has been the linchpin for the most part. You'd have
Definitely.
to say he and Mue today have been absolutely destroying for the side of Hong Kong in this first map, but now the second tick gonna have to be gained by these guys. 1 minute on the clock. We'll see what they're gonna be running with. Mue just gonna be using that Hanzo for the Sonic Arrow, try to spot out where Romania's posturing around on their defense. We'll see if he wants to swap over to the Soldier himself, or perhaps we will see the Tracer. See, Mango will be moving off the Genji, so maybe Mue says, you know what, I've been doing the Genji really well so far, let me have it.
Yeah, I think that's likely what we'll be seeing from him. I don't think we'll see the Sombra either, but this is still going to be just 1 minute to get essentially 2 ticks here for Hong Kong, so picks are going to be important. ML7 in the same position as Jazzy up here on the high ground, and it will be Mua on the Tracer, so not going to be running the Genji at all, just going to look for the back picks with the Tracer harass.
Moving over up onto this right side high ground here is Mango, trying to poke out where he can, but all of Romania kiting back inside and around the buildings to keep themselves safe. Mue, Kubao going with a bit of a bout here around the hotel, will be forced out on that recall to get himself top back up. Gonna build up for these pulse bombs and just shatter the ranks of Romania for now. Ticking up here onto the point will be that first tick just about coming through. They're now gonna be exceeding that one, and Rank gets knocked out of the back.
That's huge.
Big opening here so far for Hong Kong, and Kukubao dashing around doing his damage to try to trade this one back, but so far hasn't really been able to find a whole lot of anything, and he's still not catching up with the pulse bomb as quickly as Mue finds his, throws it out, but doesn't have a target, doesn't get a stick, so no kills coming through on
Huge,
this
Rank
one.
gets his mech back.
He does make it back in, now diving in onto the point. Nano boost here for Meza, leaping in, looking for a couple kills, just zapping away Pandaren and Mix, both going down. Meza going huge now, Primal Rage thrown out, they nearly have it. It's just 0.3 remaining for the side of Hong Kong as the overtime starts ticking down. Mue doing his best to try to delay it, will not be able to do so. Can they tag in onto the point? The answer is no, and just such a minute difference comes through.
0.3% difference, and I think a big factor here, and I was watching it the whole time, as one of the big wins for Hong Kong with that attack was knocking Rank out of the Diva mech. He survived in pilot mode and was able to remech, something that we could not see on the side, of course, of Hong Kong with their defense. So he got the Diva mech back, helped shut down Mango's ult.
I mean,
will be Mez's play of the game for sure.
This has to be that final play right here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nano boost coming through. I mean, they're just contained into a corner for him, so he can just constantly zap them. There's no chance of escape. And Primal Rage for good measure as well, just to keep everybody off that point. 0.3, the only difference coming through. I mean, we were talking about how close this series could be. These guys coming in, nearly tied on points.
Mango,
1-0 basically. But now it's going to be 1-1 because Romania, they pick up their first map of the tournament.
And Mango does get shut down with that tack visor there at the end too. Finally, they've struggled to do that really all game long for Kings Row. So did essentially shut him down there because Winston got all those picks, but the Diva was back to stop him from actually shutting that Winston down when he did go Primal Rage. And this was, of course, an Ana play coming up from Jazzy, not the Zenyatta that was stopping the aggressive Mezzo Winston dive-ins throughout the beginning part of King's Row. So a very tense first matchup here between these two teams. We were wondering how they were going to stack up against each other. Hong Kong took the last map. They had the momentum lead, if you will, but Romania just barely edging out here in the end.
I mean, so very close, down to the wire here for both of these teams. Hong Kong probably going to be beating themselves up a little bit that they weren't able to get that final 0.3% to get that hold, to get that win, give themselves a second point. But for now, Romania, first map win of the tournament so far, going to be picking up that 1 point, tying up Hong Kong now. And it could just be like this for the rest of this series, back and forth between these two squads, because they seem like they are pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, and it's going to be crazy to see how Control ends up going because of how long these aggressive fights are going. We might have a lot of flips going into this one. It's hard to give the edge to either team, I think, specifically right now, but you could definitely point out some of the strengths and weaknesses, and it comes, for me, back to the strength of Jazzy Zenyatta shutting down Meza repeatedly, which meant that whenever Mango had his tac visors, he was able to do so much more. He was able to get kills even without the tac visors there. But the composition for Romania, it seemed like they knew exactly what they wanted to run every time. We saw a lot more swaps out of the side of Hong Kong. Let's see where we're headed for Control. It will be Li Zhang again.
Wow, look
surprise,
at this, Wolf.
Surprise.
All right, so King's Row, Li Zhang yet again. What's going to be next? Horizon, perhaps?
Feels
maybe
likely.
A Route 66 to finish out
if
the
I had
set?
to guess, if I were a betting man.
Well, that would be 3 matches in a row for you and I with all of the same maps. But for now, we'll be moving back over to Lijiang Tower. Seems to be one of the favorites here so far in the Shanghai qualifier. A lot of teams favoring this one.
So we talked about the strength of Jazzy shutting down Meza, but one thing that I feel like we saw that was really good out of Romania defensively there was keeping the support ultimates and also being willing to play back, step off the point, and then you kind of delay there using the support ultimates. We saw, again, the remeching coming out, which was so important there to get the Diva mech back online. And when you have Control, delaying, staggering down those times, continuing to keep the percentage up is going to be very important. So if they get the first cap, they just play back, play defensively again, hold on to those ultimates, play conservatively. Both teams in that King's Row on attack had really conservative ult usage, and that's what, again, for the most part, helped them secure that third point, that completion.
Yeah, really well measured play for the most part from both of these squads going up against each other, but still is very tight-knit. And Control a whole other beast of an animal as far as the approach is going to go. And we can see Mue probably going to be starting things off here with the Sombra. Yeah, is going to be charging forward for the side of Hong Kong over on the blue. And Jazzy there with that Lucio and the Zenyatta.
Okay, so sticking with the Zenyatta he was so successful on. Mue on the Sombra that has really shut down a lot of these plays, especially against Norway.
And that's going to be the big difference here, because Kukabao still going to be rocking that Tracer. So Mue, the only kind of differentiating factor here for the side of Hong Kong as far as the compositions are concerned. Going forward, jumps away at the translocator, just building up for that EMP as swiftly as possible. About to be at about 65%, so he's doing a pretty good job so far.
Notice he's playing mostly defensively, just rolling with the Discord orbs again, coming out from Jazzy, just building up as much percentage as possible. He gets the basically a double here, knocks rank out of the mech, and he's just going to hold on to this EMP. He's waiting for the dive-in for Romania because they had the better positioning there. And just like we saw Eileen from China earlier today, you play the defensive Sombra, you wait for the dive-in, you look for the hacks, and you just add extra damage with those Discord orbs, and that's what we saw there.
Yep. And because of this kind of tight choke area that we have, that Romania has to push through the EMP, going to be that much more valuable. Tries to get the kill here on the ML7. Hyper there to pick it up off the backside, and everybody from Romania is just trying to hightail it out of there, but most of them are not going to be so lucky. 4 members dead, just Rank and Sima, the only ones that were able to limp their way out of there with their lives. So for now, Hong Kong will hold.
They have the big 6 available here in just a moment. That's going to be the scary part, right? They're definitely building up towards that, but Hong Kong didn't really use anything there, just the EMP. So they're also going to have similar ultimates available. Looks like we're going to see the Sound Barrier 4 engage.
Yeah, Romania trying to push into this one. The Transcendence will be available if they want to change straight into that one as the attack visor. Let's get dropped out here by Mango. Hong Kong going to answer with their own sound barrier now as they start pushing forward, looking for these picks, and Emka's going to be the first one that goes down as Mix finds that kill. Then go back in onto the point. You can see Romania just having to cut back towards the spawn into that corridor. They're not able to push in onto the point, and that's really costing them. They're not gaining anything.
Yeah, even though Mango's tac visor was bad, it was because there was no one near him because they couldn't get into position. Now they're trying to kite back and retreat, and he's just basically shooting fish in a barrel over here. Never pressured, never under attack, because the defensive setups here for Hong Kong better. They have the first point, so that gives them that advantage. And now they're going to have another EMP here. Romania used almost all they had in their war chest for that last push, so going to take a pretty big push here. Some perhaps even blind luck for Romania to take this one.
Well, Rank going very far forward, but has to respect that Winston, so we'll be cutting back, and Meza is just going to get cut down very swiftly as Mix finds that kill. Hyper trying to jump his way over to get that health pack. Doesn't quite make it, though, but will still be getting healed up very steadily here from the side of Pandora. Moves away back over to that high ground, and now we're into overtime as Romania desperately tries to get in here to actually get a flip over on the control center. Has been eluding them so far, and Sima and ML7 have both fallen, so it seems like it might not happen at all for them. Kukobao now going down the leap in here from Meza, just trying to delay as best as he can. Will be finished off, and that should be it as the overtime meter starts plummeting. And Hong Kong will go ahead 100% to 0 on Control Center.
Feels like yesterday, Mua back onto the Sombra, the defensive setups here. And even though Mua had some amazing EMPs, including that 5 or 6 man right out of the spawn, they didn't need ultimates to win the fights. But I have to give my MVP to Jazzy. Never dying, always positioned correctly. No one was able to threaten him, and he had so many transcendences, but more than a transcendence, it was always a Discord Orb on Meza when he dove in. And when you watch these team fights, you just see the Discord Orb is flying one target to the next because he never gets picked up, he's never pressured, and he's just got a clear line to Discord whoever's up in the front. So this defensive setup, take the point first, use the Sombra, working very well for Hong Kong. However, Mui looks to be switching onto the Tracer this time. So taking a different approach now.
Yeah, neither of these teams really going to be looking for that pharmacy style of play, so we'll be sticking to the ground combat right there in the nitty-gritty. Both of them just going to go ahead and clash right here outside of the point. Have to wait for that one to unlock in 15 seconds, but for now on the backside, ML7 in a spot of bother, but a nice defense matrix comes through to delay a little bit longer. Mue doesn't find the kill, but Mango with those Helix rockets does take him down in the end. So a nice effort from the side of Rank in particular to try to keep him safe. But it does not work out, and now he's going to be popped out of the map, just leaps off the map once that reset. But we will have that initial cap coming through for Hong Kong.
The Discord Orbs again, really well placed, and Romania kind of went all in there despite getting picked early, but that's what you have to do when you get into that bridge fight. You don't really have much choice. You can't just back off and give the point away. You want to at least try to turn it, but we do see Rank is going to be switching over to the Genji now. Mango's already got that tac visor available. Transcendence on its way.
Bold move here, trying to swap over for that triple DPS with just Meza on the tank. And I mean, he's been going down pretty consistently. He's going to go down. That's going to be the tac visor coming through. Just find the kill in onto ML7. But it will be answered as Emka just takes down that enemy soldier. But the rest of his squad just dying around him. Kukobao going to be the only one left alive at the end of the day.
A bold move to try to contest that bridge without a diva against what you knew the soldier has the tac visor. They just walked into yet again another choke point with no pressure onto Mango. He just pops a tac visor, shoots her, but he died sure to Emka because he got the headshots, but the damage was already done.
I mean, that and everybody was just focused in onto that soldier, so the rest of the squad was able to go forward, just dismantle Romania. Who going in doesn't quite have the stick there for the pulse bomb, so won't be coming up with a kill for himself. But MK and ML7 have both gone down. So yet again, Romania just desperately trying to cross this bridge, are unable to do so.
Just watch the Discord orbs flying around here too. Whoever Mua is shooting at gets a Discord orb attached right away. And he was good on the Sombra, not as flashy on the Tracer perhaps, but on this map they just have Romania contained. They're going to have a lot of ults to try to burst through. Didn't work out for them last time. They're going to use the sound barrier to engage. Here comes Mua from behind.
Yeah, MK using that tac visor as well, firing away, but the Transcendence is there to go ahead and chew up the majority of that damage, so he has to kite back. And he finds Mue, dashes straight into the Helix rockets. He goes down. Meanwhile, Kukobao jumping off the map perhaps does fall as the rest of Romania is trying to pour forward. They do not want to get 100 to 0 yet again. They will finally find themselves in onto the point, trying to stay alive, but several members going low, and the primal rage there from Hyper is able to just take out both of those support members. And Romania, they finally made it this far. They touched the point for pretty much the first time, but they still all die, and that should just be the end of it.
That's going to be the map, so we are tied up now, 1-1. I mean, we saw basically trying to force things there was the strat on the side of Romania, going down the bridge there into the choke point where Mango had that tack visor. Hyper is going to be the Winston who takes play of the game this time.
Like it's a nice smack off there onto ML7, getting rid of that Zenyatta. So nicely done by him, and then from here, throws down a bubble and just zaps everybody to death.
So essentially there too, I think you really have to give credit to the synergy on the side of Hong Kong, and that was a dominant performance. They looked very good when they could control single choke points, and that's where the Sombra came in, and that's where the tack visors came in, and the lack of Diva, I think, was one of the big weaknesses for Romania there. The Dragon Blade being used without any support ultimate. Sound Barrier was used to get into position to try to fight, but it wasn't there to protect the Dragon Blade. It wasn't ready. Transcendence wasn't paired there, so a little bit of disjointedness on the side of Romania, but they were desperate. They tried to force it to happen, but Hong Kong now taking full momentum control.
All right, well, nicely done here from the side of Hong Kong, working as a cohesive unit here. So showing some signs of life as they tie up the series 1-1. We're going to be going to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have the halftime show with the desk.
The 2017 Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by Omen by HP, T-Mobile, Union Pay, and Blizzard Entertainment.
Welcome back, everyone, to the halftime show here for Romania versus Hong Kong. We're all knotted up in this series 1-1 as Hong Kong looked dominant on Lijiang Tower, a map that they are very, very confident in. They told us that earlier, and it's no surprise here. They looked phenomenal.
They really did. I mean, 100% to 0 both rounds, and they just stepped up their game so much. But also on the first map we saw, King's Row, yeah, they have lost it, but still there were so many individual performances which really impressed me. Like the amount of damage, for example, we saw from the Lucio Pandaren. He really like added a lot of damage to the team. Also, the amount of space the whole of Hong Kong provided for Mango to really like get that damage output on his soldier, which is absolutely impressive to me.
Yeah, I think the space was actually a little bit confusing for Romania because one of the problems that they had on Kings Row, despite being so successful in the end, is they seemed to kind of fall back wanting to peel, but they separated in so many different directions that Hong Kong had a great opportunity to pull a lot of them apart.
I think Hong Kong is still having this, or not Hong Kong, Romania's having this thing where they're not really sure what they want to run, and they keep switching rank. It seems like Rank is doing everything in his power to not play D.Va, despite all of their success in this match in particular coming when he was on the D.Va. So I'm not sure if that's like a ego thing. I think that they really need to enable Kukubao a little bit more. He had a really stellar performance yesterday, even in their loss. So I do think that he's the player that needs to shine, and I think Rank needs to take a step back, enable the Tracer, and see if they can win that way.
Yeah, it's definitely troublesome too, right? Because even in the previous series, the Norway matchup against China, we saw how effective D.Va is, and when you don't have the D.Va, sometimes things don't work out in your favor, right? I mean, yeah, sure, you can say no D.Va, no problem, but the truth is D.Va is super effective right now in any composition you could possibly think of. So I'm concerned for Romania, not thinking about that. But shifting gears over to Lijiang Tower, though, this was all Hong Kong. I mean, we saw really a reinvigorated squad here, and they looked dominant, Zoe.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, I was also very impressed with Mui. Yeah, that was my favorite play. That awesome. EMP right from the get-go, they just scrambled and all died. Like, there was absolutely nothing they could have done against it. And they set it up so nicely as well on the second round, where we didn't see the Sombra being played, but Mui just being so confident. Also on the first map with his Genji, like, I felt like yesterday his Genji didn't really play out, but today, he was on it. He was really on it, and I enjoyed those.
Yeah, Mango was having a great game. Mue also having a great game. His Tracer definitely shining today, I think more so than it did yesterday. I think that everyone on this Hong Kong squad feels invigorated. They're ready. You know, they had their ups and downs yesterday against Norway, and now today they're like, okay, we figure out what we want to do. They probably could have won Kings Row in an alternate universe. You know, that came down to 0.3%, something that very rarely actually happens.
Yeah, in the darkest timeline, they could have won. No, I mean, 0.3% is insane, though. Like, it was right there, and the crowd was like, oh, because it was like, you see it. It's like 0.3. That's just absurd.
I was like, is the UI broken? Why is it not moving? Is it really that close? And
it's like, it was like just on top of it, which is absolutely insane. Yeah, I was really excited for Mui in particular. He was a superstar in that game.
But generally, the team, like how efficient they use their ults, for example, mostly on Kings Row, that was just... It all came together. It felt like today they're really a unit, they are a team, and that really worked for them.
Well, and that can be intimidating for Romania. We saw with Mui's success on Sombra, it was almost that they were giving him too much respect. We saw in Lijiang Tower, they're making so much space waiting for that Sombra ult, trying to make sure they were being efficient, and I think they stalled a bit too long for that.
Yeah, Sombra definitely something that Romania is having a hard time playing against, but we'll see what happens, though, as we get ready for the second half of play. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, though, the conclusion of Romania versus Hong Kong.
If we are pressured by our team captain's voice that is a bit low and put us in trouble, I think we are confident and we can get 3 points. Not really easy against Hong Kong, but we can fight for the 3 points.
Now, throughout the series, we were trying to figure out which position each player should be playing. And as you saw in the last map on Route 66, where we were able to get that one very important point, we figured out our positions, and hopefully against the Romanian team, we'll have a better showing and represent Hong Kong much better.
All right, well, there you hear from the man himself, Hyper, about that Route 66 game and how that kind of panned out for them, that netting them a really critical point in their group. But now we shift our focus. It's going to be Romania's turn to pick here. And, Seltzer, I'm going to put this question over to you. Are we going to see Horizon yet again? It's been a comfort pick, surprisingly, for a lot of people.
Everyone has picked Horizon. That's because the loser of the matchup has tended to by the rules, chooses the map. And most of these teams, when they're in this situation, especially with these the matchups from yesterday, they're looking for any advantage they can get. They're looking for something that these more powerful teams are going to be unfamiliar on. Now, this is an even matchup here with Hong Kong and Romania, and when we spoke to Romania, one of the things they told us is that we're actually pretty comfortable on Volskaya. So I think with Romania feeling like they can go head-to-head with this Hong Kong team, they're going to go for a map that they're a little more comfortable on.
Somewhere in the world, ZP is screaming and yelling because of his hatred for Volskaya. Do you think we're going to see that, or are we going to see Horizon again, Flame?
I mean, I think I agree with the analysis that we'll get Volskaya just because it is one of their more comfort zones. I think that they're just having, I don't know what the word is. I think that if they are comfortable on Volskaya, they have a plan. I don't think that they're playing as if they have a plan right now. On a lot of these maps, they keep switching their heroes. Rank has been swapping between D.Va, Genji, the entire series. Also ML7. We saw them on 76 on their offense at one point. They actually forced, I want to say, someone onto the D.Va. No, they swapped someone to the D.Va so that Rank could play Genji, and then they made ML7 play the 76. So they're really scattered, I think, in their strategies, and I think that if they do have confidence on Volskaya, they should just take it there and play what they know and do the best that they can.
Yeah, Rank, of course, does have a lot of history with ML7. ML7's the in-game leader there, so maybe, pushing that relationship a little bit and seeing, how much Rank can run away with the decision-making.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all pans out, though. And also, we want to thank our partners here for the Overwatch World Cup, HP's Omen, or Omen by HP, and T-Mobile. Once again, big thank you for supporting the Overwatch World Cup this year for 2017. Now, Zoe, you have Hong Kong. They're in a position of...
Oh, they're so comfortable right now.
Yeah,
I don't actually think it really matters to them what map we're playing on. They just came together as a team. The individual performance was just spot on. Jazzy on the Zen, like the orbs, the positioning, just everything felt right for that team. And I do think they're going to ride this high and continue in that fashion.
Well, we also just had halftime. This is a chance for the teams to get together and talk a little bit. We have seen some teams come stronger out of halftime here. I think Romania can do it.
Yeah, I think Romania has a ton of talent. Look for Mezzo to make some plays. He made some big plays in that Kings Row matchup to net them that victory, 0.3%. Dare I say, is the most absurd thing. Actually, 0.1 was the more crazy one from yesterday.
That was insane.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts. So, Flame, how do you see this one panning out? Do you think Romania is going to be able to take this if they go Volskaya?
I think I agree with the statement that Hong Kong's riding the high right now. I think that was a pretty convincing Li Jiang game, to say the least. Volskaya, again, it's one of those maps that's been around forever. It came out with the game. Everyone knows it. It's a comfort pick for, I think, everybody here in some regard. At least they know how to play it. They've played it a million times. And I think if Romania doesn't stick to their guns and stick to what they're good at and keep swapping heroes, they're going to put themselves in a really bad position.
It's going to be really scary to see how this pans out for Romania. But, of course, this matchup really only just began. We're only tied 1-1. We're going to find out who comes out on top. We'll be 2-2. We'll be 3-1. Only one way to find out. Send it over to our commentators, Kilios and Wolf.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy and Desk. We are back for the last two maps here in our second set of the day. Currently tying up 1-1 Hong Kong. Very dominant performance, as they said there on Lijiang Tower, getting that 2-0, 100% to 0 on both rounds.
Yeah, and I really agree with what Flame is saying about Romania swapping rank onto several different heroes, mainly the D.Va and the Genji swapping back and forth, forcing ML7 onto the Soldier earlier, pushing him into a less comfortable role. This is something I think they need to tighten up. So if Volskaya is going to be the comfort pick that allows them to play the heroes they're more used to, then maybe that's the go-to here. But we haven't really seen it yet, so I'm leaning towards we might end up going towards Horizon. But I feel like the key for Romania really is just not knowing what heroes to run against what's strong on the side of Hong Kong, especially not running the D.Va against Mango, who is really basically the major damage dealer for Hong Kong, especially on Li Jiang that last point. They dove in onto the bridge. He was there. No defense matrix. We are going to Horizon. The thing about Horizon is that Volskaya, there's a lot of different comps that have evolved throughout that map. So Sombra became popular, right? Then attack Sombra became popular. Then the counters to Sombra running up to the right side, going on the high ground. A lot of complex strategies there. when you're playing as a team you don't have that much experience against, it might get a little bit weird, but everyone's trying to learn Horizon right now. No one's a master of it, so perhaps on this map, because it's so basic and there's not a whole lot of extra next level strategies being played just yet, we're seeing the evolution of the attack Widow, sure, Reaper coming out on this map, but maybe you want to bring it back to something that's very basic on some sort of level. Maybe that's why so many of the losing teams are picking this map. Plus also the surprise factor, but that's where we're headed here yet again. Achilles, you and I are going to be Horizon Masters after this group stage.
Yeah, no kidding. We're just going for the same maps every single time you and I cast. So here we go yet again. But yeah, I mean, to touch on what you were saying before with Romania kind of swapping things around, I mean, it's reminiscent of Hong Kong from yesterday where they lacked a clear identity up until that fourth and final game. Weren't sure, who needed to play what. That's what they need to establish. Hong Kong kind of has that going for them, especially after those rounds on Lijiang Tower. And, well, Mix is just trying to blow up the Earth on the other screen, just sending some rockets out into space to blow them up. But for now, we're just looking at these nice plants.
Yeah, I guess it helps keep the oxygen flowing inside this this space center here.
I suppose. I'm still curious as to how people survive when they leave the airlock and they go fight outside and the near zero G.
With games and esports, Achilles, sometimes you don't ask the real questions. Sometimes there aren't any answers.
I suppose there's stranger things going on in this game than being able to breathe in space without a suit. But for now, we will have the attack coming through from Hong Kong. Going to be starting things off here on the assault, wrapping their way around the right side on the low ground.
So no shock, we're going to have Mue on the Sombra here, a staple for this map. And it's going to be Mango on the Reaper. And luckily for Romania, I think this is the right choice to put rank back onto the D.Va and try to shut Mango down. Not going to be necessarily as effective against the Reaper, but we'll give a lot more space to work with for Kukubao, specifically, when he wants to dive in.
I mean, he can chew up a lot of that damage with the defense matrix when that Death Blossom does come through inevitably. So, still has that, a nice function here for the squad. You can see rank poking forward, just trying to deny as the rest of Romania starts dropping in, but already that first tick about to be obtained here from Hong Kong. Do have it coming through, get that credit. MK wrapping around the backside, looking for an angle. Can't quite find much here. Now firing away straight down the line, but there's a D.Va blocking him out. He's going to get booped, runs in onto the point, but he's just surrounded by all the members of Hong Kong, so he'll go down. That's the team kill here, and a very swift cap will be coming through, much like we saw from Norway in their set earlier versus China.
Jazzy with the Discord Orbs again. Mango does so much damage, and every single soldier first-person view seen from MK and Mango, the difference is massive. MK shuts down immediately because the tanks were blown up by the Reaper there in that narrow choke point because of the Discord Orbs, and then suddenly there's no protection for MK because his frontliners, his tanks are already gone.
Well, EMP gets dropped in, and Mango wraps on the backside and trying to build up for that Death Blossom. Almost has it, but at the same time, doesn't really need it at the moment. They go ahead and contain all of Romania back towards that spawn. Attack Visor will be coming through here from MK, but Mix goes forward, has that defense matrix ready to go. He's not really going to be getting anything forward. A couple kills have come out, but not really by the way of MK. Does find Jazzy right at the end there. So Hong Kong stopped off, but not really by use of that attack visor.
Yeah.
So maybe didn't have to invest that one, but either way, a nice hold coming through here for the side of Romania.
It was really the only one they used, so they still have an ult lead right now, but Hong Kong has a massive push, and they have 6 minutes, so I think they're going to dump basically everything into this. Mue did switch over to the Genji, but they could try to make something happen with this Death Blossom, with the self-destruct. That could be one way to get in and find that angle. But they don't have anything but the Sound Barrier to protect the Reaper. They're not going to have Transcendence, so we'll see if they want to commit all 6. They have time if they want to do that.
Oh, a Pulse Bomb coming through from Kukubao does force out that primal range from Hyper as he tries desperately to stay alive, but still getting chipped away at, will fall off screen. Then go forward, has that Sound Barrier thrown down on top of him, but still has not gone through with the Death Blossom. Will throw it out now, but the Defense Matrix is there, and he's going to be targeted out. Makes it into the Wraith form, but has to just kite back with the rest of his team as they do get chunked out. They lose several members, and Hong Kong, we were praising them before for their ultimate usage, especially on the side of King's Row, spacing things out, not dumping them all in at the same time. They do the polar opposite here on point B.
And you would have thought maybe they might have switched after dumping a lot into this last push, but this allowed, I guess you could kind of call it an eco push. They didn't use everything because this allows Jazzy now to have the Transcendence for perhaps Mue to pair with the Dragon Blade. He was nowhere near the Dragon Blade for the last push, and they want to bait a lot of ultimates out with this next one here to see if they can be efficient. Already the Mue is down before he can even pop that Dragon Blade.
Yeah, nice little pick off there coming through from Kukubao, just wrapping his way in there, and Jazzy's going to go down as well. So Hong Kong yet again going to get stopped out. But I mean, these are the eco pushes coming through from them. They need Hyper to build up for yet another Primal Rage. They need Mango to get that Death Blossom available. Panda naturally will be having that sound barrier coming through.
My biggest concern is that they are not running the Zenyatta, so the Dragon Blade can do a lot here when the sound barrier is not available. If Hong Kong is able to identify there's no sound barrier for SEMA, the Dragon Blade is going to be so effective in those cases. Sure, the self-destruct can be useful, but Genji has so much mobility to avoid that, come back in and slash, even perhaps kill Pilot D.Va, so that's a huge opportunity here. They're going to have both support ultimates from Uwe this time, and that's the scary factor for this push. 4 minutes on the clock.
Well,
and all eyes on the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, still don't want to wait for that Death Blossom to come through. So yeah, Mango does go over to that Tracer, and he's just going to go down right off the bat. Kukubao coming up with yet another kill. Now has that Pulse Bomb ready to go. Tries to throw it out, tries to get the stick in onto Mix. Doesn't find a kill, but the rest of the side of Hong Kong are still suffering losses. Self-destruct will find Panda, and Mue has fallen, and seems like Hong Kong yet again going to be saved off. Can't get that first tick here on point B, and the clock is just draining very steadily. Already 3 minutes have been burned.
Now, surprising, Mango switches to the Tracer instead of the Sombra, but obviously they are on attack, so don't get as much value from the health packs. It takes longer to build up the EMP, but I feel like Romania is doing a great job of targeting down Mue every time. We haven't seen that Dragon Blade come out. Here it is now, though, with the sound barrier. Transcendence is available.
Yeah, it's there to mitigate, and Meza now going to be the recipient of this nano boost, just zapping away, but the Primal Rage is there from the side of Hyper, just trying to keep him contained into the corner. Will leap his way up, but the Transcendence comes down from Jazzy as they try to posture in. Self-destruct will be thrown out by Mix, looking for a pick, but the barriers there to go ahead and eat up all of that damage coming through. And for now, it's just going to be an all-out brawl here onto the point, but still going to be trading back on both sides. Discord Orb in onto SEMA, but he manages to stay alive. Mango can't quite come up with the kill, but there we go. Mue able to pick up the pieces, and that's 2 ticks coming down now for Hong Kong. Looking for the final cap. Meza pushing his way back through, has to contest this, leaps and dies immediately. They almost have it. Just 2% about ready to go. Emka using the attack visor will get leapt on, immediately goes down. And it seems like Hong Kong in this war of attrition should be coming out on top. Pulse Bomb finds the stick. ML7 will go down, and that will be it. The dash off the point, the last second from Kukubao can't stay in there, and they will suffer that loss.
So the big difference there is the supports. So you have Ana, and when you talk about what the double support ultimates were able to grant there for the Dragon Blade, it feels like it was way more effective than what we saw when the nano boost came out for the Winston. Didn't buy as much time, and when there's a sound barrier down, gives the more protection there for Jazzy to actually consistently drop down the Discord Orb. So when the Primal Rage nano boost was there, Winston was still able to be focused down. The Dragon Blade picked off immediately Emka, so no big DPS coming out, and it was longer sustain coming out from the ultimates, from having the Transcendence over the nano boost that allowed them to win out the longer fight there. And they were patient. They waited finally for the synergy with those double support ultimates. Mue with the switch onto the Genji, and he made it happen. Or sorry, not Mue there, but Mango made it happen. And I feel like Romania, I feel like there wasn't much mistakes made there, and it wasn't like Hong Kong got a big bait, but the choice of supports and how they made sure not to stack the Transcendence on top of the sound barrier they kind of desynced them there to make sure they had the longest support ultimate possible, was how they won the longer sustained fight there. Romania just ran out of steam. The nano boost wasn't enough.
Well, 2:30 remaining there for Hong Kong at the end of that point B cap, so still having a nice little time bank there for themselves. Not quite as crazy as the ones we saw from our first set of the day, but still pretty darn good, you'd have to say. Romania now going to be moving over onto that attack. Need to have a very swift first pick on A if they want to go ahead and try to match that, if not exceed the time bank that Hong Kong has established for themselves, because it's a pretty darn good one.
So will be no Sombra, at least it looks like, for Hong Kong.
Please
for
do the
this
Junkrat.
Please, maybe. I doubt it. I hope so.
Nope. Okay. Well, ML7 will be moving over onto the Reaper. So this is going to be the triple DPS yet again coming through. Double tank, Meza, and Rank on the Winston and the D.Va, but it's going to be solo heals for SEMA.
And Jazzy is going to be on the Ana, so more sustain coming out, but not the Transcendences, not the Discord Orbs that we've been seeing him with so much success on and defending these points.
Well, they're going to go ahead and push forward. Mango here to greet them. Just firing away into the tanking ranks of Romania, trying to chunk them out as best as possible. They're going to be going out through the airlock into space as they try to exit safely, but SEMA will get caught up in the crossfire and just go down. Exchange of the Lucios so far. And now Meza in a bad spot as well will go ahead and get cut down as Mue goes forward with the dash. Bit of an exchange going back and forth here. Have a bit of a back cap happening, but the first tick still not really gained here for Romania. So that push will be halted, and they're going to have to reset.
Yeah. Looks like still want to run this triple DPS. Unfortunately, just not finding much success there, especially in the choke point. Mango having the lead in ultimate as they kind of got pushed out into space. They had to contest it there. Unfortunately, there's just no way to fight out in space.
I mean, I feel like this might be fine if Simo was playing a different healer, such as Zenyatta and the Ana, so you have a bit of range. Instead, he has to stick with the squad. And, you know, so many of these people want to dive. They want to go into the back line, and they're unable to do so if they want heals. For now, flank coming through here from Mango around this side. Does take out Meza. A bit of a Reaper battle. Will make it into the Wraith form. Has a Lucio there to heal him up as well as that health pack. So will stay alive. But Mue gets rid of MK. So still, this Romania struggling to get in onto the point. Already 2 minutes 35 left on the clock. Still suffering losses. And ML7. It's just, as soon as that Wraith forms up, has to go ahead, pop it, and get out the safety.
And they almost were able to get in there with the self-destruct and the Death Blossom, which is a huge opportunity to fight a bunch of kills, but their time bank is so weak now. You normally see point A captured so early, and once again, we're going to have the double support ultimates here for Hong Kong. They have the support lead. They're about to have Big 6 with the Dragon Blade, which is how they took point B in the first place last time. Going to have this defensively. ML7 looking for the sneak attack here. Very risky.
Here, that's going to be the Nano Blade coming through here onto Mue, dropping down, looking for the Soldier. Helps cut him out, finds ML7 as well. Couldn't use a Death Blossom, couldn't use Attack Visor. Mue coming up big here for his squad. And Hong Kong will yet again just stomp out Romania. Meza desperately trying to make it back to safety.
Okay, they baited a lot out with this, though.
He does get the kill at the end, but that's about as good as it gets.
They baited a lot out with this. That's one important factor here. Really, the both support ults, the Dragon Blade is gone, but Romania has so much war to work with now. They still have that Death Blossom, so this is absolutely a follow-up push that could work, but if this one fails, they're in deep trouble because they only have 80 seconds left. And that's exactly why we see Mangolai here, or Mangolongzai, ready for the Death Blossom. Coming in all together as 6, going to the choke point again. A dangerous proposition, but they have the ult economy lead.
Could be just a battle of the Death Blossoms perhaps here on point A as they do pile in, looking for the kill in onto Hyper. Does not have that ultimate ready to go. There we go, throws it down. 2 kills going on to ML7, just the one for Mango. Self-destruct thrown out, however, so ML7 has to hightail it off the point, and Mue is right on top of him, does kill him with the dash through. And Romania have still not gotten a single tick. Meza leaping around with the Primal Rage. Kukubao here to back him up as they desperately try to keep this one in contention, but they're still not building up much of a percentage. And it's 40 seconds remaining, so even if they do get the cap, the time bank would be so severely limited at this point in Hong Kong. It looks like they might just be able to full hold this.
Oh, and MK using this attack visor so far away. What a nice helix there, but luck on the side of Romania. But
I mean, that's like the consolation prize that you get for not getting anything else on the points.
But
so
they only have
takeaway.
They only have 22 seconds left, and they have no ults to work with. Dragon Blade available, Nano Blade even, with Jazzy nearly having that. If they buy enough time for Hyper to get that Primal Rage, they just have all sorts of advantages here on the defense. Romania gonna have to make one desperate last push happen. They don't have very many tools for it.
I mean, ML7 now over onto that Zenyatta, but it's gonna be a bit too late to try to get that Transcendence into the back line. Comes Mango, finds him with a shotgun blast, and Mue has the Dragon Blade drawn out, cuts down MK, looking for a little bit more, hits rank in that Baby Diva form, and now just needs to finish off Meza. The overtime already ticking through. They got the first tick, can't quite get the second, but that's gonna be it. That's gonna be the map. Going over to Hong Kong. Romania said that they were looking for a 3-1 here perhaps, but now the best that they could look for is a 2-2 as there's only one map remaining.
And the big keys there was they went for the solo support. It was Lucio, which gave them more mobility. You could tell they were trying to use the Lucio to go for these big attacks, right? They had the amp it up for the speed boost, what they were using to go into those chokes. But unfortunately, when they went into the chokes, when Mue had the Dragon Blade, that was massive. It's going to be Jazzy, who, yet again, as Zenyatta, will take play of the game here. But before I break this down any further, let's just watch Jazzy's Zenyatta. Gets the kill on the Kukubao here, and rank.
And just firing away. Well, very nicely done here from Jazzy. I know Doa watching in the back room is going to be very happy with that aggressive play.
Providing a lot of heals too, but
62% kill participation there for Jazzy.
That's pretty insane, and it's because of the discords a lot of the time too. He's just constantly discarding these forward targets, especially Meza. But more supports, more long-term healing, and Amp It Up was used for the engages for Romania, so they didn't even have Amp It Up for the healing. They're using Amp It Up for speed boost to go in, which means even less healing when the Dragon Blade comes out with Nano Boost, and it was Jazzy again, this time on the Ana, who consistently had those Nano Boosts available to pair with the Dragon Blade with that longer sustained healing. It felt like every push that we saw with the triple DPS out of Romania was all in, and they just got shut down on those choke points. They took the same route every time. Hong Kong was just there waiting for them, and the map choice, perhaps the wrong one on the side of the European team now, because they just got shut down hard. we very rarely see full holds so far on Horizon.
Yeah, I mean, very strongly played there. So perhaps they should have gone for Volskaya. You'd have to think here for the side of Romania. Might be regretting that one. But now it all comes down to this. So far, just have the 1 point for themselves. Hong Kong kind of on the precipice of going ahead, picking themselves up 4 if they can close this set out 3-1 for themselves. So it's looking rather good for these guys. They have finally found that identity, a bit, scrappy on King's Row, but everything since then has just been domination.
You would think that for map selection now, you'd want to avoid the Route 66. This is where, of course, we saw the...
Is that your bias coming through? Because we've cast nothing but Route 66 so far.
A little bit. I'm a little bit tired of it. I'd like to see something different. But
Okay.
we have 100% Route 66, at least for the two of us. But I would like to see them avoid the map that we saw domination from on the defense with the Sombra coming out for Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Also, there are some asterisks to this. Norway did try to run the attack bastion, and it didn't work out so well. They burned through their time trying to make that happen, didn't quite get the checkpoint. But I would like to see something different, knowing that this is the map that Hong Kong found most success on back in that series against Norway yesterday. But it's still pretty likely that we'll go to Route 66 because at least on our side of the casting, that's where we've been going.
That's just how everything has worked out. But
Dorado.
What do you know? It's going to be a bit different. So we will go ahead and break the streak. Dorado will come through, the first different map that we have cast since day 1. But, I mean, Sombra, it's not as common for us, at least coming from Apex, not one of the big ones that we do see here on Dorado, but it certainly can be played.
Yeah, definitely so. Here's one of the two maps in the pool here, so definitely can be played. And in fact, I didn't know where to take that sentence, but it's a smart choice again, because I think that how we saw flexibility from Hong Kong dealing with such a unique push coming out from Norway with the attack bastion is it's kind of terrifying to see that flexibility. And when you just look at stats alone, if you're talking to your committee here as Romania, you're probably like, yeah, let's avoid that one. Let's avoid the one map they took against Norway. And I think it might just get to be that basic here. So for Hong Kong, they get to play a different map here now. It's obviously both of these maps have been around for a long time, and
yeah,
all these teams are very familiar with them. So it's just not like a crazy pick like we were talking about for Horizon. So if you're newer fans, like, aha, they're going to try to trick them here or something like that. This is just a standard map, and they want to throw a curveball and not play on the map that Hong Kong looks most familiar with.
Well, for now, it seems like it's going to be Hong Kong starting things off on the assault as we take a look at the other monitors. So defense here for the Romanian side, and they need to have a very strong one to start things off. Something like a full hold, albeit a very rare, especially on Dorado, is something that is possible given the right composition. But it seems like they're going to be running a whole lot of the same coming into this one.
Looks like it. We can already see the compositions. We'll tell you in just a moment as we jump into this one, but I will be able to tell you that it is going to be rank again on the Diva. Widow to start things off on attack here, however, for Hong Kong.
Yeah,
going to be Mango.
Kind of screwed up his grapple there onto the top of the building, did clip the side, so still operating on the low ground, which could make him that much more vulnerable, perhaps, to the likes of the Winston, but for now, sniping out, looking for a target. This is a shot in onto Emka. And he already just hugging back around that corner, so just showing respect over to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Will be in onto the Sombra, but he's going to get jumped on. Only builds up about 34% there for the EMP before he gets taken down.
Really good respect from Romania. Not necessarily what we saw earlier out of Norway in that match against China, but the Widowmaker not finding much value so far. He's still sticking with it, though.
Kukubao trying to disrupt here into the backside, build up for that pulse bomb. Gets decently close, but has to peel back as he goes dangerously. Now still being jumped on here by Hyper, chasing forward with that Winston.
Dodging the Widowmaker shots behind the payload there is Kukubao as well, but the push continues. The respect shown to the Widow gives them a lot of space for Hong Kong, so even though they don't get massive kills, it forces Romania back, makes them play defensively. They lose control of the high ground, and this allows them to push almost all the way up to this checkpoint. They got under the archway.
Yeah, right up through the fountain here so far for Hong Kong, so making some decent time despite the pretty slow start here. Mue still looking for that EMP. Taking him quite a long time comparatively here today. Go ahead and get this one. We'll now finally have it coming through. He's going to throw down immediately as the Transcendence does come down from Jazzy. See that nano boost in onto Meza. Has the Primal Rage available. Can't use it yet. Now can if he, as he leaps in, but still is losing several teammates. Will pop it in the end. After 3 members have gone down and try to buy some time here for his squad. And is relatively untouched, so just keeping that payload in contention so they can't inch it further over towards point A. But now all on his lonesome Primal Rage expired will fall down. And
Yeah.
that might just be the final push.
A little bit careless, actually, to use the Primal Rage there. You can understand they wanted to buy time to build something there, but they didn't have any other ults. They were going to come back with the Transcendence. Wasn't ready. Just gives Hong Kong the checkpoint. And also, during that entire time, Mue was basically just sitting there, shooting the Winston, building up 50% of an EMP. So gave him free EMP charge, gave Mix free self-destruct charge. So just a small mistake here from Meza. Got a bit trigger happy, hoping that Simo would have that Transcendence to follow up to try to stop the checkpoint. But now Hong Kong works with a very nice time bank here.
Yeah, heard me say that it was taking him a while to get those EMPs, so he says, all right, how about this? Backs it back up, 83% so far, ready to go for him, and Ultimate's very much going to be in the hands of Hong Kong as they get ready to push through. Pandering with a very aggressive position up over onto this ledge.
Gets away with it, though.
Yeah, they throw out that self-destruct, however, and Mix is going to be the first one to fall. Now Transcendence coming through here, trying to save Meza's life, but he doesn't get to the low ground in time, so Sima now just going to go ahead and have to kite back off of this one, so invests that massive ultimate here for his team and doesn't really come up with much. And will go down at the end as Mue just chases forward, finds that kill.
And a lot of this comes back to the self-destruct, really disrupting Romania's positioning there, and then suddenly Mango's on a high ground position no one expected because he took that weird little scaffolding across. And Zima was trying to be patient, didn't want to get baited there, but unfortunately because he used his Transcendence so late, couldn't save his teammate as you mentioned. And again, another ult used with very little value. This is a nice biotic grenade here.
Yeah, gonna get a lot of value out of this one, and just go ahead and build up for that nano boost yet again for ML7, but whether or not it's gonna make the difference is gonna be the big question here. But Jazzy goes down, nice little snipe there from MK with the Helix rockets, so go ahead and finish off that Zenyatta, who had the Transcendence available, and this should put a stop here to the side of Hong Kong's push, especially as Mix gets knocked out of that back.
Yeah, nice hold here because now they have a large ult lead, and this is the hardest point for Hong Kong to push so close to the checkpoint.
Well, it's gonna be the big, brutal shutdown here on that stagger onto Mix, get that sleep dart in, so the Baby Diva's just in a bad spot. Mango in the meantime pushing around the side, and Sima doesn't kite back into the bank, actually drops down to the low ground, and it's just gonna get taken out there by that tac visor. So Mango, I mean, there's not gonna be that much follow-up by the look of it. His team just now joining as he desperately tries to make it over to that health pack. Will be able to do so, but in the meantime, MK, he's got the nano visor dropping in, looking for Hyper, kiting around the bubble, but it will be dropped down, and he will fall. So nicely done there for the side of Romania, coming up with several picks, so even though they lose Sima, they're able to go ahead and trade up.
It was very haphazard for Mango to use that there. He thought he had an amazing position. It's very clear that Mango's very familiar with Dorado for Soldier. Saw the supports there, but unfortunately they were so close to the tunnel, they were able to hide there. He used it early, and finally, because Jazzy wasn't anywhere nearby, Meza was able to shut Mango down hard. And again, this is the longest run back for Hong Kong, but they still have a few ultimates available.
I mean, somebody's just pushing the payload right now.
Yeah,
Hyper just inching this one through, and no one's playing up onto this. EMP does come down rank, desperately wanting that self-destruct. Does not have it here, so now, yeah, Mue just very nicely timed, has the hack coming through as well. That's just back over up onto the high ground as they try to get this completion coming through. Nice biotic grenade, will keep ML7 alive, but barely so. Self-destruct thrown out, clips rank in that Baby Diva form as he goes down, in Hong Kong still trying to win out on this board. Just 0.82 meters left to go to get that completion, and they will be able to do so as Meza leaps away. And he'll just go ahead and die. Hyper coming up with the 3K at the end of that one. So point B gained here for Hong Kong. Just shy of 3 minutes remaining on that clock to try to finish Dorado.
And you can respect Romania for committing so much to stopping them there because they knew the run back was going to be so severe. But they didn't account for the EMP and the large ults Hong Kong would have for the next push. And it was so critical they stopped rank from actually having the self-destruct. That might have bought them enough time to build more ultimates that they have now. They wouldn't have had earlier, or you know, they didn't have earlier because of that really good EMP.
Mana boost thrown out here on Meza as he goes forward, has the Primal Rage ready to go. Almost gets the kill on the Pandering, but can't quite finish him off. Doesn't chase around the corner. Now will be doing so, going forward onto this tac visor to Mango to try to get the kill. He takes a lot of damage and has to get out of there, and Mango stays alive in the end. So not going to be getting anything really for that double ultimate investment, but now it's going to be the self-destruct thrown out here by Rank. Not going to find anything. Gets back into the suit to keep himself alive and in the fight, at least for the moment. But now the hack is thrown down. Transcendence out here from the side of Jazzy as they go forward. And Hong Kong is just looking to dismantle Romania. The kills starting to spill through. Rank falling as well. 3 members dead. Payload still moving at a very fast pace. Getting ready to round that final corner. Minute 40 remaining here for Hong Kong. Looks like they might be able to finish Dorado.
Unfortunately for Meza, that commitment to chasing Mango didn't find him anything. It wasn't there for the peel for his teammates that got decimated. The EMP comes down, the hack's coming in, and Rank just can't use these self-destructs when he wants to. And Hong Kong is doing a great job of shutting down the Diva play, which empowers Mango himself to do that soldier damage.
Hyper died before using the Primal Rage, however, so now has to get back here with the squad. You can see Hong Kong just gonna go ahead, peel back. Don't want to stay in contention without him. Do find a nice little answering kill right at the end. On the Cuckoo Bow. But given the Tracer will be able to rejoin the team rather swiftly. Self-destruct down out here by Mix. Over the top of the point, will not be able to find any kills, but to zone them back. It buys a little bit of time. Sound barriers out from both sides, and Seema's gonna be the boostio coming through. Just firing away with those left clicks as best as he can in the boops, but will not find any kills. So a big botch coming down, and now Mango with attack visor finds one right off the bat as he knocks Rank out of the back and takes him down, offering up so much damage here for the rest of these kills coming in as Emka does fall, but Meza able to answer one, gets Pandaren, leaps in, finds Mango, and is just single-handedly trying to hold onto this payload for his team.
Now, that's definitely supposed to be for Meza there. What we saw onto Seema. Did what he could, did a lot of damage, but miraculously still, it's Meza the one who's able to carry this fight. Do that big damage there with the Primal Rage, without the Nano. And mistake for Romania, but they still hold fast here. And now Hong Kong's gonna have one more opportunity. They don't have the support ultimate yet, but Jazzy can buy time to get that EMP up. Perhaps the self-destruct, the fight goes long enough. Hyper's Primal Rage, he's gonna wanna hold on to that one as long as possible as well. Try to complete this.
It's a very crucial one here. It's already popped out as he leaps down onto that payload to try to keep this one, try to start this one moving forward. Rank's gonna be knocked out of that mech as they drop down onto the low ground, but Mue has been taken out, not gonna be able to build up for that EMP to go ahead, lock everybody out of their ultimates that they might be getting, and see almost a nano visor available for the side of Romania, and that could really turn the fight. But with so many members going down, ML7 almost being taken out, has a bionic grenade to keep himself alive, but nobody can tag the payload right now. There's nobody tanking enough. They're gonna try to zip forward here with the Diva, but they just can't make it. And that will be the full push completed here, barely in time by Hong Kong.
So a complete push. The map isn't over yet, but Hong Kong definitely showing dominance here in that last push. The scariest part about that is the things that needed to happen for Hong Kong really to get completion weren't even required. And Rank, we saw him switching so much on their first 3 maps, between the Genji, between the Diva, and I feel like Hong Kong was at least initially struggled to deal with him at some points, right? They lost King's Row, but now that he's Diva focused, they are focused on taking his mech out first, and they've been doing such a good job of it. The Sombra hacks to prevent him from using Defense Matrix, knocking him out of the mech, stopping those self-destructs so consistently. Rank, unfortunately, was holding onto it for so long because he just kept getting denied on those. That was really well done. Jazzy had the Transcendence, which wasn't even needed there in that last fight. Meza with the heroic hold there without the nano boost still just wasn't enough. And now we're going to see the defense here for Hong Kong. Mua not going to be running the Sombra, at least doesn't look like it here initially. Going to be going back to the Genji.
I mean, it's just one of those frustrating moments if you're Romania, because you have to wonder, like, would we have stopped that push if there wasn't a boostio? Would that have been the one thing that turned the tide of that fight for us, that won us the game? They weren't able to come out on top of that skirmish, but maybe they would have gotten so much more if it had landed, you know, onto the likes of Meza, who was putting in some serious work on that Winston.
Might have affected their mentality for sure, because even though they held there and they kind of used the same amount of ults they would have needed to do it anyways, it's kind of those frustrating things where you're in comms and you're like, oh my god, you know, Seema just barely got in the way of my line of sight there, and this wasn't supposed to happen. They made the best of it. Seema actually nearly got the kill on the Mango anyways. But the slate is clean now, and Hong Kong was able to complete this in overtime, so Romania absolutely has a decent chance for this. It's not over yet.
Okay, well, ML7 is just going to get taken out. Pandaren with the right click, charge up, just goes ahead, snipes the enemy Zenyatta. Drops down off that high ground, comes through from Hyper, just trying to zap what he can, build up for a Primal Rage very steadily.
And interestingly, no Lucio whatsoever for Hong Kong. Looks like with the comp they're choosing, they want to actually hold this really hard.
I mean, this is going to really allow them to get those long-range kills coming through, you know, onto the likes of Mue, on this Genji, onto the Diva, onto the Winston, who want to be playing forward. But they have to be careful that they don't leave that back line exposed. They don't leave their supports alone. You can see Jazzy getting left on at the moment, barely staying alive as they go ahead and kite back. Mango throw down that biotic field and try to offer up some healing to keep them up. And he's just going to be able to take out Meza. Rank goes down as well. He swapped over to that Genji. He's been playing on that Genji at the start of this one. And they'll just get cut down and not be gaining too much on that payload yet.
Seema actually goes and gets the kill, and the Mango finishes him off there after he's expelled all of his resources to survive. And the push does continue here, so Hong Kong looking to have maybe perhaps a little bit too far forward of a defense there.
And we'll have to try to get back in onto this one. Made it through that underpass so far as they start trying to push in. Hyper going low. Will be taken out. The leap forward there from Meza, picking up the kill on the enemy Winston. And you can see ML7 just flipping around, throwing out these Discord orbs very consistently, looking for the right clicks. Will just force out that Transcendence as soon as the Dragon Blade comes down from Mue, denying all of it. They will lose out on their own Genji as rank falls, but Mue not going to be getting a damn thing for that one, and he's just going to get taken out. Meza yet again going forward, finds the kill. Attack-visor out from Mango on the backside. But there's a defense matrix and several members there to go ahead and take him out, so he won't be finding much.
So they finally found the way to have Genji and D.Va. It's to put rank onto the Genji, put MK onto the D.Va, shutting down Mango there with his perhaps a bit overzealous of a tac visor there.
And you know,
that's not going to be there
this.
for the defense. And this is, yeah, I don't mind this either. At least in practice so far, it looks to be doing really well. Rank could play the hero he wants, play that carry, and MK so far looks to be pretty good. They sacrificed the soldier DPS, but this is pretty, so far so good. And shutting down the DPS of Mango.
Well, it was the defense matrix there to go ahead and consume that pulse bomb. Self-destruct thrown out, not going to be finding much of anything, and MLC has been taken out off screen here by Hypers, just jumping around, smacking away with that primal rage, trying to keep this payload here contained at the moment. It seems like they will be successful. Romania just going to kite back through that doorway.
Okay, so much ult lead here for Romania though with this attack. They already got the checkpoint early. Mango has been shut down really hard by MK so far, only bringing up 50% of that next attack visor, so should have had it by now, but because he was shut down so hard, he's finding very little damage. Romania's playing this safe, only showing themselves when they're confident they can make a play, not allowing Mango to build up free charge. He's still now only at the 60, not doing anything here.
Well, MK using that self-destruct won't really be gaining much for it. Instead, just going to ride up onto that high ground, trying to disrupt and take the attention away from that low ground from Hong Kong. Seems to be working at the moment, but now Mango actually comes up with the kill there onto MK. Dragonblade thrown out here by Rank, finds one as he takes out Hyper, but the Transcendence is there to answer from Pandarin, denying the rest of that damage from coming through, but now ML7 chasing forward, has the sound barrier as well, so stacking those support ultimates. They stay alive for the moment to get rid of the enemy Zenyatta, and they keep the payload moving, but now Mango with the stack visor, expires right at the end, doesn't quite have the damage. The shots to get those kills coming through will just fall, and this is going to be a very swift street phase coming through for Romania.
Yeah, it's a massive, massive lead going into this final completion on Time Bank. Here comes the Dragonblade from Mue, but will he be able to find much? Does get the kill here on ML7.
Gets the double kill. MK does go down. Nicely done by him, but needs a lot more than that to stop this push coming through. Goes dangerously low, and he is surrounded by the enemy. Will get taken out, and that will be point B.
It seems like Hong Kong is really struggling to deal with this specific setup. And MK has switched off of the D.Va now, but we're struggling there in that street space against it. Mango not able to find much, and now MK is going to be switching back to the Soldier. They're keeping rank on this Genji. His Dragon Blades have been overall more successful, and Hong Kong is being very wasteful with their ultimates, using them to try to stop these checkpoints when there's nothing to pair with them. Jujusu Parandaran switching back over to the Lucio since we're dealing with this very narrow area. Not going to be looking for the long-range heals anymore. Mua again also switching to the Tracer, so that's going to be part of the reason why.
Oh, well, Dragon Blade here up onto the high ground. Everybody clumped up right here for Rank. Finds the first cut down here as he gets rid of Mango, but Hyper is there to go ahead and pick up the pieces. Answers onto that Genji, and Kukobao has been taken out by Jazzy. Might just be a halt, but as I say that, Meza goes in, has the Primal Rage, gets rid of Pandarin, and Jazzy has fallen as well. So there's going to be no supports available, but Meza still goes forward. He still gets taken out. So seems like Romania, as you say, Hong Kong have been investing way too much in with their ultimates. It seems like Romania does a little bit of the same, and they will get punished for that, but respawns have been coming through. They're moving back over towards this payload. Rank coming back in over on that D.Va as they look to push in for this final.
Yeah, they don't have a Dragon Blade to pair with the double support ultimates they're about to have, unfortunately. Meza as well, not going to have a Primal Rage. The support ultimate's not too useful right now.
Attack visor coming through here from Mango, just has to run away because there's a Winston stuck to his tail. And they can see the Transcendence thrown down as well, just to make sure the Soldier can't do anything with that ultimate. He's going to go down. Pandarin as well, waiting for those respawns. Hong Kong going to have to go ahead and try to contest this payload. They move back in. Big biotic grenade on to the members of Romania as they try to go ahead and take them out, but Mix is going to get popped out of the mech even with the nano boost thrown onto him, and now it's just do or die time here for the remaining members of Hong Kong with the backs are against the wall. They at least do have the sound barrier out from Pandarin to try to stay in the fight. Mue picking up a kill onto MK. Siva has gone down as well, but is that going to be enough? 3.61 meters remaining as Kukobao goes ahead, kites back here on the Tracer, desperately trying to get rid of that enemy Lucio, just can't quite find it, but it's going to be Hong Kong who actually are persevering, who are coming in on top of this skirmish. Take out Rank, they take out Meza, and they will be holding right in front of point C, but it's still 2 minutes left on the clock.
Romania used both of their support ultimates to try to force this to happen. They got more than I expected they would with it because they were able to shut down Mango. It feels like finally Romania has figured out how to do that. MK on the D.Va now having the really nice run-ins from Meza there with the support ultimates to shut him down, but they don't have as many tools anymore. The self-destruct can be used as an initiation here. We'll see if they wait for the support ultimates. They only have 2 minutes left, so if they commit everything here, including the self-destruct, could be a mistake. And Mix has also built up enough time to have that self-destruct now with this defense he didn't have earlier, so bought a lot of time. That tack visor for Mango also very much on the horizon here.
All right, well, MK getting picked off, a crucial one here for the side of Hong Kong. Mango also has the tack visor ready to go, finds ML7 off screen. And they have the high ground advantage at the moment, poking back, they're shoving Romania all the way back over towards that point B. Romania has to regroup, get themselves together, but it's just about to be a minute remaining on the clock, and there's rollback here for the payload, wrapping itself around that final corner. So that much more space that has to be made up for here by Romania. Need this completion.
Yeah, just
trying to go into those overtime rounds.
Just Mue looking around here, trying to see if he can scout out the angle. Looks like they're going to approach left side here. Huge biotic grenade goes down. Of course, they're going to have to wait until that wears off before they can actually commit in. Could give some extra charge, though, to Sima.
Yeah, building up nearly, has that sound barrier ready to go. ML7 as well with the Transcendence. About to be in a good spot. Tack visor thrown out here by Mango. They're going to go ahead and throw in the nano boost as well. So he's just trying to fire away. Has a nice angle, almost gets MK, but he cuts back around the corner in time to keep himself alive. But in the meantime, Mue has come up with the kill onto ML7. They pop rank out of that Mac as well. Invested their own sound barrier, and they are just tearing apart Romania. Meza falls, and he has been, the big linchpin here so far for this squad on Dorado for their success. He's very far away from the primal range, now just respawning, and it's 12 seconds remaining. Romania, can they tag in?
Rank is so far away from the point here. He's the one who had self-destruct. 7 seconds away, he could just dive it in. Kukabao is gonna have to buy that time. Self-destruct can be used here to try to secure this. And MK gets pulse-bomb from behind. Nicely done.
Doesn't have the stick. He still picks up a kill onto Mango, but it's not gonna be enough. He goes down. Now pushing forward, ML7 throwing out that Transcendence as they desperately try to stay on top of this one. Mue poking around from the sidelines, looking for a couple kills where he can find them. Rank going in. Still have the tanky members here on the side of Romania, and Hong Kong are the ones that are suffering losses. Pandora has gone down. Jazzy taken out by Kukabao with the pulse bomb off screen, and the payload is moving in. They desperately need to get on top of this one. Hyper has that primal range ready to go, gets pooped away, pushes back in, looking to go ahead and smack them away from this one so the overtime can tick down. Mue going in, goes low, 10 HP, gets it all back from the recall, just firing off, trying to get that pulse bomb for himself so he can have that explosive finish here for the side of Hong Kong, but it's just not looking likely. It's a war of attrition back and forth between these two squads, and it's going to be Mix who gets popped out of the back first and foremost. Now Mango firing away from the sidelines, has the tack visor, doesn't come up with a kill, and that is just going to be the push in the end in overtime. Romania able to get the completion, and now it's a minute on the clock for both.
1 minute apiece. It was so important that Romania killed Hyper before he could use his primal rage. We saw actually how much he was able to do with that there when he did get it available, when he did respawn. He bought a ton of time, and it was Mue who got that pick with the stick there on the backsides, knocked MK out of the fight, but was so far away from the rest of the team. The primal rage being used a little bit late there for Hyper cost them big. They were so close after Romania blew a lot of ults, saw blood in the water, used their support ultimates there, thinking they could, even with the long runbacks on the respawns, finish that point. They failed to do so, and now we've got 1 minute apiece. Hong Kong, though, that kill onto Hyper, his late primal rage, may have cost them. We're not done yet. May have cost them, though. Dorado here, had he been able to pop it there, I think they would have been able to buy enough time there in overtime. We kind of reset. And on Escort, when it's 1 minute apiece, it gets real nitty-gritty because every single meter counts. Can full hold, sure, but you can't full hold the exact meterage, so how far you push it, even if you don't get that first checkpoint, which is pretty unlikely even for either team, it can be so important, even getting one extra pick or getting that extra boop to get just a few more meters. So it'll be Hong Kong on the attack first. They're going to be putting Jazzy on the Zenyatta again, which I think is so good against how Romania's been playing, with Meza being so aggressive, trying to shut down Mango. And it is going to be Rank again on the D.Va, MK on Soldier. Not going to be the Genji play from Romania.
Oh, already Kukabao going down. It's going to be a nice start to things here for the side of Hong Kong as Mue finds that kill. Going to be looking to build up for those EMPs as swiftly as possible, and that's one of the big things about this Sombra pick. High impact ultimate that can be built up very rapidly with only a minute on the clock. For now, payload going to be moving unhindered. All of Romania cutting back into the market area to try to defend this final push.
Yeah, hanging around the fountain here. MK just trying to shut down anyone he can, but this push has already gone pretty far for Hong Kong. Finally, they get their first pick. It's on to Mango.
Made it through that underpass. Mango does go down, as you say. Jazzy under fire off screen. Will get taken out as Meza just leaps right onto him for the final kill. Able to find Rank, knocks him out of the mech, but still is a ways away from this EMP. Is going to be needing this desperately. Throws the translocator up towards the gate, trying to get rid of that baby diva. Will be able to do so right at the end, for the rest of his squad has been suffering. Mix and Hyper both taken out. He's gonna fall, and it looks like that might just be it. The sprint through coming in, but Kukubao will be able to stop Mango. And 66.93 meters, just a little bit shy of point A. Is where Hong Kong end up.
A decent push, and you can see the idea there for Mue to try to shut down the remeching. The remech happens and all hell breaks loose because you deal with the second diva, and they worked so hard to target her down, which is part of the reason why Romania was able to out-sustain there. So much DPS was put into that diva tank. So as we switch sides here, not a massive push that Romania has to go through here. But my big question is, will they be putting MK on the Diva or on the Soldier? Do they want to try to make the Genji work? They don't have a lot of time to get the Dragon Blade, so I prefer their original setup here. It looks like they haven't quite decided yet. MK so far showing the Soldier. And will we be seeing that triple DPS is another question. That's one way they could try to approach this, to kind of try to stomp Hong Kong, get that wipe and shove it, because they know where they're at here. When you already have such a small meter, 66.93 here, you know you don't have to push that far. Perhaps if you get just one wipe at the right moment, you win it early with this small time pool. They were showing the triple DPS for a minute, but it looks like they're now deciding to go back with MK on the Diva. And Mue is showing the Zarya. It's going to be a rare pick for him. They might try to fold this with, and they definitely are, because we're about to start in 10 seconds.
Yeah, they're going
with the Reinhardt.
Whoa, okay.
Orisa.
What is happening? They need to get over towards that spawn.
Yeah, need to get there because they are having some really delayed decisions here. Pandaren will be on the Zenyatta, so Hyper sticking with the Reinhardt. This is going to be a surprise defense here. Romania is not going to be expecting this.
I mean, triple tank coming through here for the side of Hong Kong. Mue going to be poking around the corner. They now know that there is a Zarya as he goes ahead, fires off those right clicks. Obviously, we'll be able to cut through MK on that Diva, even with the defense matrix, but this is an intriguing strategy. We saw the flash over the Mei for a second. This would have been, it's more of a Season 1 strat coming through had they gone ahead and completed that one.
Not a whole lot of mobility. Yeah, not a whole lot of mobility for Hong Kong. So Rank is actually just coming behind, getting the harass off here, going for the dash, is trying to disrupt here. They're so close.
Get onto the payload. Somebody has to tag this one if they're going to keep
no one's
there.
there.
No one's going through it. Hong Kong, what are you doing?
The boop comes through. No one's there. They're so distracted. Genji in the backlines comes over. I don't even want to call this one a back cap. That was just no mobility on the side of Hong Kong. Nowhere near the payload, which is the crux of everything they were trying to do. Panicking perhaps even with their hero pool. Going into the triple tank at the last second. A composition we don't really see all too often anymore. They ran with it there, and this is just going to be the win going over to Romania as a result.
Okay, well, I am confused, but congratulations to Romania. They're able to go ahead, pick up the 2-2 versus Hong Kong. They put some points on the board for themselves.
This was not by any means a clean series.
No, it was not.
But I do have to give credit to Romania for seeing the weak point there, and the boop just comes in. Hong Kong wouldn't have been booped away. The boop wasn't the winning move if they were in position, but because they weren't, they panicked, tried to get in.
Yeah.
Late to even show up to the point with the triple tank. And I think it was just nerves suddenly coming in for Hong Kong.
I mean, the boop should have never been able to happen to get the Reinhardt away from the payload. Should have been with that, in front of it the entire time. But so much draw from the Genji wrapping around the backside. They just pay so much attention to Rank. They want to take him out. He goes over there. And then the payload just kind of goes straight into the station. They get the completion, they win the map. So congrats to Romania. Bit sloppy there from the side of Hong Kong. We still saw, while they were shaking hands, smiles on their faces. They know that they did something silly. They know that they lost the map in a bit of an odd way, but still very solid. But that's going to do it us here for the second match. So we're going to go ahead, throw over to a break. When we come back, I believe we will have the analyst desk there to break down the set.
The 2017 Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by Omen by HP, T-Mobile, Union Pay, and Blizzard Entertainment.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the post game for Romania versus Hong Kong, which can only really been summed up in one word: odd.
Odd. It was odd.
Odd was is the best word in my brain that I could possibly come up with here. Okay, so going into the half, we talked about Horizon. We said, I don't know if Romania wants to go with the pick for Horizon, and they ended up going with Horizon because reasons.
They didn't stick to the plan, Al. Like, they had a plan going into this. They said, we're good on Volskaya. And then they freaked out and they picked Lunar Colony, which is a toss-up between the two teams. They had a plan where Rank Namoja was going to play Genji. Every time he did, they were successful. Every time they put him on D.Va, they had trouble. They had a plan where Emco was going to play D.Va. When he was on D.Va, he was great. When he was on 76, they had trouble. So I think that the things they practiced, the things they planned for really served them well, and when they panicked and deviated, it all fell apart.
Yeah, they tried a little too hard. I think ML7 wound up playing Reaper or something on that offense,
Yeah.
and they spent 4 minutes trying to attack with a Reaper and no second healer. I think that it was a strange decision. They had signs of life, though. I think Kukabao himself had a pretty good series. I think that Mix had a good series. They were all playing pretty, like, respected. You know, like it's hard to put a lot of positivity there because there were some obvious mistakes, but there were signs of life, I think, from Romania, and they did wind up getting the 2-2.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the line, that's the silver lining, right? Like, hey, we ended up getting the 2-2. It wasn't a 3-1. So Romania is still very much in contention, at the very least, for second here, depending on how things go. As a matter of fact, yeah, I mean, well, they lost against China, but they could have an opportunity against Norway.
I think if they beat Norway, they might be second place. So
yeah.
That is doable. Like, you know, they did put themselves in a good position here, regardless of how that game maybe felt or looked.
Yeah, exactly. Looked good choice of words there. And for Hong Kong, though, I mean, they looked great on Horizon. They did everything that they needed to do right, and they got the W.
I really felt like on Horizon, it once more came down to absolute splendid support play. Jazzy just really was on top of things. And I also feel like on the attack round for Hong Kong, the lack of Zen at the very beginning, that really broke the back of Romania there, and they had an easy time. I'm still wondering a little bit about Reaper picks. It just feels like every team picks Reaper. It's just, other than the game with China, where Reaper actually got a Death Blossom out and we had the proper defense with D.Va, it just feels like for the other teams, it doesn't seem to do as much.
I mean, especially when you're only running one support. I don't know. Only running Lucio with the Reaper is not super incredible. You know, you want that Transcendence. You want the Nano Boost. And just not running that just puts your whole team in this weird position where suddenly everyone has less heals. There's no Discord Orb, so there's a lot less damage. And then it just throws off the balance, I think, of your pushes, and your whole team just has to adjust on the fly, and I think it just makes it a lot harder for everybody.
It's just kind of proven at this point that, you know, in this particular meta, if you will, not running two supports just doesn't make a lot of sense. And every team you talk to, they say they have two supports, and then to not run two supports is just really, really, really odd. And just before, I have to mention this real fast. Dorado. I just, real quick, Flame, I just want to get your perspective on this. What happened at the end of that Dorado game?
I'm surprised Hong Kong didn't stick to the Sombra on defense. They ran it on offense. It was really good. They finished the map. I mean, both teams obviously struggling to finish the map. But I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that second half. It was probably one of the most anticlimactic endings we could have asked for. Everyone just kind of forgot about the cart. But
like, there's an objective in the game.
Yeah,
you know, it's there.
It tells you, you know.
Did they get booped away? Did they forget the guy? Is there anything?
I mean, well, you could tell even that they were a little.
Genji came up from behind, so I think that threw them off a little bit.
Well, they were indecisive, right? They didn't even leave spawn. They were still trying to figure out what heroes they wanted to play because they knew that they could just hold the choke. I think one of their supports was on May, and they were trying to run around that, and then suddenly I think at the last second someone was like, oh no, we don't want to run this anymore, but the car was already moving. So I think everyone was just really scatterbrained because of that indecision on their defense, which I think they could have probably just picked something more standard, or if they were going to go for a crazy strat, you know, you just have to go with it. So indecision really bit them at the end there, and I think that was more or less what happened.
I think it's weird because their first defense round, they were just so far forward in their defense, and in this one, they were so far in the back, so like they didn't find that middle ground.
It's a question of where you want to take the fight. You can take the fight right in front of their spawn. If you lose it, you probably lose. So it's, do I want to hold a choke or do I want to go on the all-in first fight with the Sombra? So you could tell that they really weren't sure of themselves, and I think you have to be sure of yourself if you want to win, if you want to go to the playoffs of this group.
Yeah, well, Let's go ahead and shift focus here for just a little bit because, you know, the road to BlizzCon is long and arduous. And keep in mind, last year we saw some great performances, right? We got to see, you know, Mickey's rise. We also saw players like Miro be awarded MVP as well. And, you know, just so you know, for our friends over at the States, for the broadcasters who are over in the States and everyone watching at home, you know, once again, T-Mobile, I just want to throw it out there, brings you the unlimited access to the Overwatch World Cup on America's best unlimited network. So what does that mean? Well, what this means here is that there are certain players who are going to do everything that they can to be the best. Just like T-Mobile, boom. See, Doa, that's how you make a plug happen. And
he's not going to be allowed to sell spark plugs.
No, Lee actually is not pleased with him by any means whatsoever. But the player in particular is going to be Eileen from the Chinese team. This guy is a savage, Flame.
He hasn't been stopped in this group, and every play that he makes feels like a play of the game. It's just a constant Dragon Blade that's just getting 1, 2, 3, 4 kills sometimes. But he does have the support around him to make it happen. I think that the whole China squad's playing incredibly, but obviously he's the flashier player. He's the one you want to see in the kill feed, and he's definitely made a name for himself for the people who maybe weren't aware of the Chinese scene.
Yeah. Do you think, Seltzer, that Eileen could be out there for MVP potentially if they make it to BlizzCon?
He came with his own theme song. I mean, I've never met a man more prepared to be the MVP of a tournament. I brought the skills, definitely a flashy player. And a bit of a personality, too. It's been nice getting to talk to these teams and getting their insight. And the Chinese team is actually pretty incredible in that they've been so communicative with us.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I was pleasantly surprised. Although they are very, very serious.
They are taking this so seriously.
Like, you want to go up there and you want to be like, hey, we're going to get some questions? No.
And they have one of the best squads, I think, in terms of that. Like, they have a coach, and it's a coach that's not a coach of either of their teams. You have the LGD and the IG Ice teams merging for this Chinese World Cup team, but then they have the IG Fire coach. It's like this match made in heaven where you have this mix of teams with also a mixed coach that's also probably not too biased, which I think just gives them this huge edge in this group because a lot of the groups do have committee members that wound up being players, not coaches.
Yeah.
So it's just like this great mix that I don't think everybody really appreciates.
I just want to say, like, the Chinese, when you say they're taking this so serious, yes, they do. In fact, the guys from LGD, they were actually having prior commitments. They were supposed to actually play in a different tournament, but then the organization LGD said, like, you know what, we're going to send our B team to that tournament, and we're going to send our best players to the World Cup because we just really want to be represented in the best possible way. So they gave their players the opportunity to play here. Yeah, I think that's amazing.
Well, that's been a trend of the successful teams. They come from nations, from areas that support esports. And so, you know, the entirety of China is watching, and, you know, their fans know how to please them.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, it's going to be a great matchup between France and Thailand. I know everyone at home is really excited to see how Mickey and the boys will stack up against this dominant France lineup. More and so much more. I don't even know what I was saying there, but I had a little bit of a, you know, moment. Anyway, we'll catch you on the other side.